This is discipline, mind pillar.
Let's go, legends. Welcome to another live stream. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in. And as always, I need to start with a disclaimer. Remember, I am not a financial advisor. I'm simply sharing with you how I approach the market from an entertainment and educational perspective. Right. Let me switch on my face so you guys can see me here on the charts. What can we expect next? Is there a bounce incoming? Is the lows going to be swept once more before we get the bounce, or is it just going to capitulate to the downside? That's what we will discuss today. We'll look at some scenarios. Not much has really changed since my last update on, what is today? Tuesday. Yesterday was Andy. Sunday. I was here live on Sunday. Not much has changed. Okay. Andy also went through a lot of scenarios yesterday, higher time frame scenarios. So basically going to do a little bit of a recap and see if we can also scalp the smaller time frames here on the 5-minute, 1-minute time frame, because there is a small little long that I entered, and I'll explain to everyone why, where I entered, where's my stop loss, where do I plan to take profits. Okay, but while this is playing out, this is basically small little mini trade that I'm looking at here at the moment is just a trading strategy. Okay, it's going to be a little bit more relaxed, guys. You know, I'm going to be staring at the price action, see what happens here. There's a couple of things about this trade that I don't like, but it's a small little fun trade. Okay, it's a small little fun trade. So basically what I'm planning over here is there's some candles closing above the trend. Okay, targeting the high of the structure, basically. Okay, stop goes below the low. You can have a tighter stop loss. I've put my stop loss right over here. I wanted a little bit of a tighter stop loss, obviously targeting the high, which is the main target. And then if this plays out, I will be taking profits on the way up. That is what I like to do. So first TP area, if this trade plays out, is that little 0.382 where I will maybe enter short. Okay, because I can't, why am I taking profits here if it's not a resistance area where price can reject? So maybe price forms a little three-wave structure here, rejects, goes and claims the low again, and I'll enter short over there. Who knows? Okay, or price just falls from here and I get stopped out. It's just a small little scalp fun trade that I have entered over here just before the live stream. Purely based on the D-line strategy. Okay, based on it's a 5. It's not my favorite fine trade. It's not my favorite time frame to trade. Okay, I used to trade the 1 minute and 5 minute time frames, and 15 minute is my preferred time frame that I like to trade. Okay, preferably the 1 hour time frame, and I would like to see this 15-minute candle close above the trend, hopefully with some upwards momentum. So let's see how this plays out. Okay, so while this trade is simmering here in the background, we can go and look at a couple of scenarios. Remember to smash up that like button. I will go through the comments just to say hi to the community. Where is my damn comment section now? Okay, I need to close a couple of things here on my computer. There we go. Mr. A Trader, welcome inside of the live stream. Always appreciate the mods being here. Good morning, Devil. Hope you're well, sir. Yes, I'm doing very well. Legends, hope you week is going great so far. Smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. Mr. King Kai, welcome. I need to borrow your earrings. I need to do some fusion with Andy. Okay. The amazing legend, A Trader. Much love to you all every day. Thank you so much for joining. Mr. Nico here in the live stream. Hello, everyone. King Kai, much love to you, legends. A Trader. God bless, legends. Middag, everyone. Uncle Cyril, welcome, Cyril. Welcome, welcome. A little bit of a weird day here in South Africa with the marches and stuff like that, but I'm not going to go into politics. Mr. Cyril, you should not be watching the live stream. You should be managing the crowds out there. Anyways, triangle alert. Yes, that's what we need to talk about as well. Okay, clicking the like button. Thank you so much, Mr. Nico. Victoria, good morning, Devil and Legends. Welcome. Hi, JP1973. JP, okay, welcome to the live stream. Not a lot of people in the live stream at the moment, but I'm sure people will start popping in as time progresses. I see Andy has already started, or Andy already shared a couple of scenarios, areas of interest that he's looking at inside of the community, because Andy is back. Yesterday, I was here on the live streams. I was inside of the community, and now Andy is back in action, and I see he's sharing some analysis inside of the community at the moment, some setups and things that he is looking at. Okay, oh man, it looks like this is going to be, for now, looks like it's going to be a fake out. I don't really want to see candle closes below the trend, so as long as it can dance and stay above trend, it's just fun little trade for this live stream. Okay, guys, just a fun little trade. Okay, no, I'm not going outside today. Mr. Cyril, holiday season, can't even go buy milk today in SA. Yes, it's dead outside. I don't even see a lot of vehicles. I went outside this to go to the gym, and I needed to cross a specific road to get to the gym, and I didn't want to risk it, so I turned around and came back home. I will gym twice tomorrow. How's that? I will throw twice as many weights around tomorrow in the gym. So I'm going to skip gym today, maybe just go for a walk with my dogs a little bit later on. Right. Now, let's see if this plays out, guys. Tight little stop loss. I mean, it's going to be such a small trade. It's such a small trade for me. It's a $66,000 loss. No, it's a $66 loss, guys. Small little fun scalp trade that I'm taking here on my 2-bit account. Okay. If this plays out, I will be looking for my TP okay, for a portion of my TP, I will most probably take a nice little portion of my profits here at the 0.382 because I can see that it's resistance. It's not just a Fibonacci level. You have a bounce, you lost it, you retested it, price fell down. So if price comes back up, well, that is why that is a profit-taking area for me. Okay, I'm not going to close my trade. I will take some profits and leave price for if it wants to go higher. Okay, just leave a little bit of a runner. If I get stopped out, then I will adjust my trend and look for the next trading opportunity. Just scalping the smaller time frames, also just making it a little bit more fun here on the live stream. Okay, yeah, let's carry on. Now I can take this out the way. Let me call this my little trade for today. My little trade for today. Let me just folder this up, close it down, and let's do a little bit of technical analysis here on the higher time frame. Okay, what can we expect? What are the scenarios? I must be honest, not much has really changed since my update on Sunday, but okay, it's good to know where I'm still looking for a bigger trade. Okay, this 5-minute scalp trade, guys, is it's $100 trade. It's a $200 trade. I'm looking for the $10,000 trade, the $20,000 trades. Okay, I am still in my long from, when was this? On the 25th of June, which I think was Thursday. I'm still in this long from Thursday. And price has absolutely done nothing. It's just gone sideways. So I'm still in the long from Thursday, which I took live inside of the live stream, a SFP from a daily level. And I'm still in the short from the top of the range. Okay, I've taken majority of the profits because I do know that there's a higher probability, not guaranteed, but there's a higher probability that even if the lows get swept, for a nice little bounce back to the upside. And also, guys, I like to short the tops and long the bottoms. And when price comes back down to a bottom, I like to take profit, majority of my profits from my shorts and just leave a runner. So I just have a runner, small little position still open from the short for what if price capitulates. Then I'm still positioned and I'm still making money to the downside. Also, while I'm looking for longs, I have that little bit of the hedge that is helping me with some fees. Okay. If price turns around and shoots here to the upside, those are some of the probabilities and scenarios that we're going to analyze, then I'm just going to make more money from the long that I'm currently positioned in at the moment. And, right. There was also an interesting short that played out yesterday that I shared inside of the community that I missed. But I see some people send me messages saying that, Devold, I got in, did you get in? And I said, no, I didn't. I missed it. I was distracted. I missed the short that I highlighted yesterday. And it did play out very nicely, I must say. Okay, two different scenarios, same short that I basically shared yesterday. And let's see if price can continue the dump, because the trade that I'm the most interested in is that one. That's the trade that I'm the most interested in. Okay. Right. Now let's look at this structure on the 1 hour time frame since the high that was formed here at $82,800. So since the high at $82,800 to the low at $57,000 or $58,000, what is cooking here? Okay. Most bearish. This is the most bearish case scenario that I have here at the moment, is that price still forms a double bottom. Okay, just doing a little bit of a recap. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inside of your third wave, you still want price to make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's still the same long that I'm looking for. The question is, I don't know if this is going to happen. And I will discuss the probabilities of the scenario in a second. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So double 4, 5, and I want to see a triple bottom. Okay, so The trading plan for me remains the same, because if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and it's done, it's still the same trading plan. If price moves up in a 3-wave structure like this mess, okay, choppy, doesn't make sense, struggling to count an impulse in the structure, there's a chance that price is going to take the low again. And then I have another trading plan here to the bottom. I will re-enter this trade if I get stopped out of this one, but make no mistakes that this will most likely be a profitable trade, get stopped out to break even, just like the long that I'm in at the moment. Okay, I don't mind getting stopped out of this long because I've already taken profits to the upside. So I can be wrong, get stopped out. It's not really being wrong. It's just, how do you manage your trade? I can still make money. And if it wants to continue up, I'm just going to make a lot more money. If I get stopped out, then I look at the next levels to the downside. And this is basically how I plan to trade this. Okay. Price bounces. I make money. I get stopped out and I look for a new long. Then price has basically formed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Triple bottom, sign of strength. Want to see a 5-wave, 3-wave corrective structure. There's another opportunity to get in if you are struggling to play swing failure patterns, for example. There's always another way to get in, but basically it forms this little diagonal. Okay, you can play the breakout, you can play the retest. There's many ways in which to get into this trade, because I do see some people when they do not catch the bottom or they do not catch the top. Okay, if you do not catch the top where I have the short, if you don't catch the top and you don't catch the bottom, there's always another way to get into the trade. Okay, because I know Andy, for example, got in over here. Andy got in over there. I can't remember if I took that trade on one of my other accounts. I don't remember. I can't remember if I took that trade on one of my other accounts. I think I did, because Andy took this trade live inside of YouTube and I think I was there. I think I took this trade on 2bit or one of my other accounts, because I'm already positioned in Bluffin. I didn't want to add to a position or anything like that. I just wanted to leave the trade to play out. Okay, but there's always another way to get in. Right, so if the scenario had to play out and I miss this entry, let's say it bounces, it does it to perfection, it does this, and it bounces, and I miss that entry, I know there's another way to get in, because I'm going to wait for a 5-wave structure to the upside, a sign of strength. If price comes back down and it's choppy, it's messy, it forms that overlapping price action, there's bullish CVD building against those pivots, I can get in over there. Or maybe it forms that diagonal and I can play the breakout and I can add to my position at the retest, stop goes below the low, which means I'll just have to risk less capital. Okay, because now I have a bigger stop loss to contend with. The beauty about swing failure patterns is the stop losses are relatively small. Okay, easier to manage. Okay, then the not so bullish case scenario, or the not so bearish case scenario. Okay, because this can get nasty, guys. And there is another scenario that I have that can get nastier than this, but I will discuss the probabilities. So before I jump off of this scenario, the reason I think that there's a good chance that price only makes this low and not this one is because of what happened here. Okay, because when I channel this 1 and 2, I think this 1 and 2, let me just do that quick. Take a parallel channel, because that's something that I looked at this morning unless I was smoking my socks. Okay, let's channel this 1, 2. Oh, it's not going to give me the magnet option, yeah. Okay, yeah, there we go. So I'm now looking at this structure. I'm looking at the number 3. I'm looking at number 3. Okay, the third wave. I'm looking at the third wave. I can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm waiting for 5 to complete. But 5 can be over there as well. Okay. Anyways, I'm looking for low. I'm looking for this fifth wave to complete, but 4 left the channel, which is rare to see. It's not an invalidation. It's not great to see the fourth wave leave the channel. It's way more common to see a 4 reject in the middle of the channel and then create the fifth wave. Another 4, another 5. So you basically want to see this mess outside of below the channel, not above the channel. It's not an invalidation, it's just not common to see this. Okay, so it does reduce the probabilities for this little bad boy over here. So I have to just throw a little bit of probabilities into the scenario as well. Okay, so let me smack that into the folder. And that is basically why I do not like a double bottom here, is because the fourth wave and price action for the moment is trading above the channel. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Now we talk about this one. This is basically where price makes one more low. Now this one actually looks way better because when I take a channel, you can see price is still below the channel for this 1 and 2. So if I count this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can see the mess is below the channel. Counts better. Okay. So technically, one more low makes more sense. It can, guys, I'm not saying it can't do this. I'm not saying it can't do that. I'm just saying technically it looks better for one more low. Yes, this can happen, and I've explained to you how I will trade this little situation, and I can still make money with that move to the upside. But if this is the low, well, I want that channel to be broken. I want price to get back into this channel. Okay, great profit taking area. If I do jump into a long here, that will definitely be a great profit taking area because price can fall into the channel, okay, and 5 again down. So for me, it's about how I'm going to manage my trade, how am I going to take profits to the upside. Right, let me smack this into the folder as well. Now we have the scenario. So if I zoom in a little bit into the scenario to see, well, what is happening here to the downside. Beautiful 3-wave structure up. That's why I took the short. 3-wave structure up, Fibonacci levels, prices hitting resistance. That is how I got into the short over here. Okay. 3-wave structure up, Fibonacci levels, hitting price resistance. I took the short. Berry CVD. It was beautiful. Sometimes it's not easy. Okay. Because people get very bullish here at the top of the structure. It's going higher, it's going higher. So, you know, you have to, I like to trade against sentiment. And now that price is here at the bottom, it's going to $40,000. Everyone is screaming for lower. So I like to trade against sentiment. And this is also why I took the long. I love to trade against sentiment. But there was also that beautiful daily level SFP get in, okay? But quite naturally for me as a technical trader, I love, okay, to short tops and long bottoms. So now that price is here, it's more interesting for me to look for longs. This is not a great zone for me to look for a short, but I'm talking about a swing short. Yes, I can scalp, okay, guys, I can definitely scalp the range, okay, short, long, take profits, get in, get out. I can definitely still enter a short in the zone from a scalping perspective. And then maybe benefit from this little move here to the downside. But when price comes to the top of the structure, okay, it's better for me to look for aggressive shorts, swing shorts. When price comes to the bottom of a structure, for me, technically, it's better to look for longs. Okay, bigger longs to the upside. Also, when I zoom out, here on the 4-hour time frame, okay, now this is where I was very interested in longs, and I did catch a long over there. I can go through all the trading setups that I've taken so far here, guys. There's been a many trades inside of this range. Okay, but let me just go back here to the 4-hour time frame. What I'm trying to demonstrate is when price hits bottoms, I'm looking for longs. I'm looking for longs. When price hits tops, I'm looking for shorts. Now price has already fallen aggressively to the downside. I was looking for a long. I did enter a long in the zone, got stopped out, okay, with some nice profits. But now price is at the bottom. So I'm looking for longs. And I know I'm repeating this, okay, like a broken record, because the reason most people lose money is because they're doing it the opposite way. They're trying to long the tops and they're trying to short the bottoms. I suppose it's the worst thing that you can, well, it's the worst thing that I can do as a technical trader. Okay, so let's get back here onto the 1-hour time frame. Whoops. And go back to the scenario. So in the scenario, okay, I know it looks a bit messy, but I'm going to explain it. Since the high was formed over here, I can see a wave 1. I must say, and I stick by it, it doesn't look great as a wave 1, but giving it the benefit of a doubt, expanding structure inside of a wave 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, expanding structure. Not great, it is what it is, right? Beautiful 3-wave structure in a wave 2. And then an extension 5th wave inside of the 3rd wave, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, extended 5th wave inside of the 3rd wave. Sideways choppy correction structure inside of wave 4. There's no overlap, okay, between wave 4 at the moment and wave 1. There's no overlap. So it's following the impulsive rules. And I would like to see one more leg to the downside to complete a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, sorry, let me do that again. So I want to see a complete 5-wave structure to the downside. Inside of the orange box is where I am interested in a long. That is the bigger long that I'm interested in, but I've already told the community I am not going to limit order trade this. I'm not going to. Because I'm very aware of bearish case scenarios. There is a super bearish case scenario that I'm aware of, and regardless of the scenario that I'm aware of, I don't want to trade this with limit orders. I'd rather wait for reactions or get in at a sign of strength, because price can waterfall. And then, dear Lord, what happened to the 5th wave? There is a bearish case scenario where maybe this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and it just slides to the downside. So I'm not going to limit, and it's my preference. I mean, if you have a limit order plan, great, okay? Do not let me scare you out of your plan. Execute your plan. But I will share with you, there is a scenario where there's a clear invalidation which you can limit order trade. I'm leaning in the camp of very strongly that I'm not going to limit order this trade. I'm going to set my alarms and wait for price to get there, and I want to see the reaction before I make a trading decision, so that I can get in, and have great risk management and pay myself on the way up, and if I'm wrong, get stopped out with profits. Okay guys, for me it's about preserving my capital. I would rather play an SFP, get stopped out with profits, price falls to the downside, and I don't lose money. Okay. But there is a lazier, easier way to trade this, and I'll get to those scenarios in a moment, or that scenario in a moment. Oh, now there's bearish CVD starting to form here. Okay. There was nice bullish CVD, I think. There was some bullish CVD forming, but I saw also against this pivot, or that bullish CVD already played out. But against pink basically is the aggregation. It basically excuse me, aggregates all the charts together, the pink line. But now as price is trying to push up here, there's a lot of people longing at the moment. So you can see there's a bearish line forming here. But anyways, guys, let's see how this unfolds. It's just a small little scalp trade that I entered over here. Right, if you would like to be part of the community where Andy's also sharing some analysis today, send me the word access to my Telegram and I'll send you the instructions on how you can join the community. Okay. Let's continue with the technical analysis, but maybe before I continue, let me go through some comments. It is going to be a little bit of a longer live stream today, so I am going to take it nice and easy, read through some comments, see if we can maybe, catch a little scalp trade here together. I am in a small little long here at the moment, high chance of getting stopped out, and but the most interesting trade for me is here, what you see on the screen here to the downside inside of the orange box is where I'm very interested in a long. If price falls here to the downside, well, then I'm going to take this trade live. Okay. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. And, well, it's not a super chat. Thanks for showering people with gifts over here. You have bought 50 memberships. Oh, my greatness. Okay. So YouTube is now just handing them out to random people here on the live stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm sure the community members appreciate it as well. Okay, let me just go back here while that is happening. Hi, Devolt. Is it possible that we forming now triangle in wave 4 and price won't go to... Triangle in wave 4. Price won't go to 61.5, but maybe only 65 still. ABC triangle down and 5 reversal. Yes, I want to talk about the triangle here on the smaller time frames. I'm getting to it. Okay. But thank you so much for joining. Hello, Devolt. Can we check Mind Pillar CBD free tool on the public version? Do not show indicators like on your screen. It does. This is the public version that I'm using. I'm not using another version. This is the public version. Maybe you need to clear your cookies. Okay. But your settings are on here. Okay. That shows divergences. This shows volume. I like the color candles because it shows me the bearish and bullish pressure. You can include liquidity as well. You can go crazy. Okay, annotate. It brings up this little bar where you can draw. Yours should look exactly the same as mine. If it doesn't, you might have to clear your cache and cookies and go into the website again, because this is what's available to everyone. If you do want the CVD tool, which is the only indicator that I use because it's a real-time indicator that shows me in real time what the retail is doing and what the market makers are doing, it is this link down here in the description. Okay, free tools. CVD, Fear and Greed. What is Mr. Fear and Greed doing? 15. It's climbing up ever so slightly, but it's been here for a month here in the extreme fear territory. Okay, extreme fear has been here since the 3rd of June. Almost for a whole month, price has been at extreme fear levels. So a relief rally would be really appreciated, just to get the fear and greed out of that extreme fear state, maybe back into neutral, and then it can fall back down. But what else? We've got the economic events calendar, which I like because it automatically defaults to high impact news US, and this is basically the only news that I pay attention to. Okay, so on Thursday we have high impact news. Nothing really. Well, wait, that was the 25th. Okay, sorry. Today, let me not smoke my socks. We have Jolt's job openings at 4 o'clock Central European time, which is in about 3.5 hours from now. Wednesday, tomorrow, we have high impact news 3 and 4. Thursday, 2:30 to 2:30, basically non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate. This usually has a nice little impact on volatility, and then only next week again. Okay, but anyways, guys, there's a lot of tools that you can use here. I like to look at the bubbles as well, just to see, well, which ones are pumping, which ones are dumping. Okay, and I remember in the old days, what I like to do is I will go to the big bubbles, the ones that's gaining a nice little momentum, and I will go and play the D-line strategy on those tokens because they have momentum behind them, and I'll just play the breakouts to the upside on the smaller time frames. That's what I used to do in the olden days. I look for the tokens that shows strength, and then I go and zoom into the smaller time frames, and I'll go play those breakouts. And right, let me just go back here to CVD because this is the one that I am most probably on the whole time. Okay, or most of the time. I always have it open in the background just to see, well, what is price doing here at the moment. And I think, you know, just purely based on CVD, yeah, doesn't look like there's a high chance to get massive continuation here to the upside, but let's see how it unfolds. I missed the short also. Oh, the short from yesterday. I'm going to close my trade because I don't want to miss a thing. Sounded in my mind on the motive on the song from the Armageddon. Hello to the best community. Welcome to the live stream. Hello from Turkey. Wow. Great to see you here in the live stream. Okay, let's continue. Everyone just saying thank you so much for all the memberships that was given away. 50 memberships bought from Mr. UAE87. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Okay, I'm sure the community appreciates this as well. Right. Respect. I love to hear. I love to be a member. Zero, get it. Hello, Devil. Joan, welcome to the live stream. Great to see you here, Mr. Joan. Do you have any alts on the watch list for new spot allocations, or are we not there yet? No, I'm not there yet. I'm not buying any alts at the moment. I still have my bags. I don't have a lot of bags, but I still have my bags, but I'm not adding to them just as yet. Okay. Still in profits with ETH and still in profits with XRP. Still in profits with, but those were the two that made me the most money during the previous cycle. XRP actually made me the most. Hello from Texas. Welcome to the live stream. Do you think Solana is primed for a breakdown? You know, guys, I'm just first going to focus here on Bitcoin, and then maybe I can go and look at some alts, because I know, okay, we've got some, what is the word? Bitcoin diehard fans. I do 99% of my day trading, if not more, on Bitcoin. And I like to have bags of altcoins when I have confirmation, you know, after 4-year cycle theory going back up to the momentum is going to go back up. But I'm in no camp at the moment where I want to aggressively accumulate any altcoin at the moment. No, I'm not there yet. Okay. Can you go over XRP? Actually, I haven't looked at XRP in a long time, but I'm still in profits. But I have taken a significant chunks of profit to the upside. When does the party begin? Well, we'll have to see how this plays out, because for the moment, this is the primary scenario. Okay, and when I say primary, it's the scenario that carries the highest probability, but sometimes low probability scenarios can play out, and that is why I trade with risk management. Okay, because I know that there's some traders that says this is it, okay, or this is it, the low is in, and they are longing like crazy people with the entire portfolio. Price goes down, they add. Okay, they add to their position. I don't trade like that, guys. I don't trade like that, because that's a recipe for disaster. Or you think this is it. Limit order, limit order, limit order, limit order. Okay. Price zoop, slices through, liquidates your position or your entire account. That's why I don't trade like that. Unless I have a clear plan. If I have a plan with a clear invalidation, then I will trade with limit orders. Okay, and I'll show you an example of a scenario that could be traded with limit orders depending on your plan. Okay. Right. Also, when I open up some daily levels, point of controls, weekly levels, monthly levels, you can see that there is a lot of support inside of this zone. There's a lot of support in this zone. So it's most likely going to be hard work to get into this trade for me. Because I remember when I caught, which one was it? This one. When I caught that low, it was hard work to get into that trade. But this move to the upside paid back any loss that I took trying to catch the low over here, because I did it responsibly. I looked for swing failure patterns. I took the knock. I took the stop loss. If I zoom into the smaller time frames, I can show you guys, I did a live stream where I explained in detail how I got into that long. Price pumped to the upside. I took profits because that's what I do. It's part of the rules of my strategy, and I got stopped out with profits inside of a live stream. So I know that this could be a very difficult trade. Maybe let me not call it difficult. I'm going to have to be in front of the chart, and I'm going to have to pay attention to catch this long, because it could be one of those difficult ones that bounces. I take it. I get stopped out. I take it. I get stopped out. I take it. I get stopped out. And eventually it gets upwards momentum, and maybe I had 3 attempts before it actually started turning around, and then that's where I start making the decent money back to the upside. Okay, maybe it happens live here on the stream because price is gaining momentum here to the downside. Okay, and it could be forming that little wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to see a 5-wave structure to the downside, but I'm also very aware that this can form a 3-wave structure and then bounce. And that's a scenario that I want to discuss next that could be traded with limit orders and a clear invalidation. Okay, so let me clean up the kitchen because it looks bad, right? Let's just look at some fresh price action over here. Also, something that I just wanted to point out is, and maybe I'll get to that in a second. Okay, let's talk about this one. Right, I just want to close some stuff here in the background. There we go. Okay, so now this is, or you do a limit order for a spot bag. Yes, spot bag limit orders are perfectly fine. I do that as well. Okay, spot bag limit orders. But for these swing trades, my trading accounts, no, I very seldom trade with limit orders. There was a limit order trade that I took inside of the community. Oh, I can't even remember at what price. I mean, I'm sure the community members know, but I'm not going to go there now. Where we were, it was this one. Now I remember. Here was a limit order trade. If I'm not mistaken, this was a limit order trade. If I remember correctly. Okay, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. This was a limit order trade on my 2-bit account. I only got in with 1%, I think. Sorry guys, let me see here. No, I'm wrong. This was a limit order trade. That was a limit order trade. On my 2-bit account, I got in with 1% because I had a limit order, limit order, limit order. And I was risking 3% for this trade. Only one limit order kicked in and price fell to the downside. So sometimes if you do have a clear invalidation, you can limit order execute trades. And this is the one scenario that I want to talk about now, is that price is forming an ending diagonal. And the reason I'm considering an ending diagonal is because of this structure. And this structure. But more specifically this one. Because remember guys, an expanding structure is rare to form a wave 1. It's extremely rare. Okay, so yes, it is valid as a wave 1. It's just very rare to see an expanding structure inside of a wave 1. So if it's not an expanding structure and it's a 3-wave structure, then I start considering diagonals. Okay, and this is why I'm considering the diagonal. So from a structural perspective, it looks great. 3-wave structure in a wave 1. 3-wave structure in a wave 2. Remember, because it's an ending diagonal, all structures has to be 3-wave structures, and this is why I'm talking about this. The only thing that I don't like about this diagonal is that wave 4 did not overlap wave 1. That's preferred inside of a diagonal. So if price formed a 3-wave structure down here and a 3-wave structure up overlapping wave 1, then fall down to the to the downside 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would have looked better. But the reason I'm still discussing an ending diagonal is because of that. Basically, it's not invalidated, guys. It's preferred that wave 4 overlaps with 1, but it doesn't have to. So okay, but anyways, let's discuss it. And this is the one that could potentially be traded with a limit order. So if this is a 3-wave down, a 3-wave up, a 3-wave down, another 3-wave in a 4th wave, you can see invalidation is still not claimed. And as long as price does not claim the invalidation, price can form a 3-wave structure down in a 5th wave. Very common 5th wave targets between the 0.618 and the 0.786 when I take a fib from the high of 2 to the low of 3 to the high of 4. Then I get 5th wave targets. Now this one could potentially be traded with limit orders because it has a clear invalidation. Your 5th wave is not allowed to be longer than the 3rd wave. This is why there's a 1-to-1 extension here. So then you know, okay, well, ending diagonal, great. Stop goes below. At the 1-to-1 extension, I build a position in this zone and I'm targeting basically the top of the channel or the top of the 4th wave, because that's generally where price likes to retrace back to. So from a risk to reward perspective, it's a 3.81 risk to reward. It makes sense. Okay, and maybe for fun, what I will do is on my 2-bit account, I will do this execution. I will limit execute this trade because it's a trade that you can now execute, put your limit orders, put your invalidation, and just let it play out. But I will share that inside of the community where I'm going to place my limit orders, because it's not guaranteed for the community. You know this by now. It's not guaranteed that the 5th wave is going to get there, because it could also do that. And I've seen that many times where the 5th wave claims wave number 3. It doesn't even hit the minimum target and it turns around. If that happens, either there's a limit order below the low, so you can at least have 1% exposure, or you look for a sign of strength. 5-wave move up, 3-wave down. That's your opportunity to get back in. Okay. Or you have the break of the trend and you enter at the retest. So always another way to get into the trade. Right, let me know what you guys think. Is the scenario going to play out? And this is the reason I'm discussing the scenarios, because of this structure. Okay. What is interesting, before I get there, let me go through some more comments. Hello from Texas. Wow. Do you think Solana is primed for breakdown? Okay, I did go through that. If I have time, I'll go through some altcoin tokens. Okay, when does the party begin? Hopefully today, hopefully soon, because damn, this range is boring, okay? And I know it can form a triangle here as well, which will, by the way, invalidate this leading diagonal, okay? Because remember, there's still an invalidation for the scenario, not just to the downside. This isn't the invalidation for the fifth wave, but that is also the invalidation for the fourth wave. So if price continues to chop sideways, it will invalidate the ending diagonal. Okay, and it's very close. It's not invalidated just as yet, but it's very close to the invalidation line. Remember, expanding structures are so rare that I actually call this the invalidation line. Right. Devil, do you have CVD for Solana also? I actually do have CVD for Solana, but it's not on our website. It's using an external website. You have to plug in the script to get it to work. I also have CVD for Ethereum. Yeah, but you need to use aggr.charts to use those scripts. If price drops below 25k, will you buy spot, or is that the end? My rule from an investment perspective is, if price is below where I bought the last time and fear and greed is below 10, preferably below 8, that's where I accumulate. So I did buy at $60,000 because fear and greed was at 5, and 60k I haven't bought anything during the dip yet. So that was a zone where I accumulated a little bit. Okay, I did buy this dip from an investment perspective. The reason I have not bought here is because I already bought here and price is still at the same level. My rule states fear and greed needs to be below 10 and price needs to be below where I bought the last time. So if price continues to the downside and it's now below my entry, fear and greed is below 10, preferably be below 8, I will buy again. Whether that's 25, whether that's $9,000, I don't care, guys. I don't care where price is. I just follow those rules. I don't care where price is. But yes, at $25,000, I would still buy. Okay. Let's do this quick. From the low to the high, just more or less. Okay. Impulse to the upside, correction to the downside. $25,000 is definitely a zone where I will scoop up. Nice little consolidation area. Higher low continuation, price takes the high again. Impulse up, corrective structure down, continuation. So definitely a zone where I will add. 618 still very far away, $34,000. Okay, and this is why this bounce here to the downside also looks so interesting to me, because price has not even tapped since this low to the high. Price has not tapped a major Fibonacci level yet. And look at where it is. Look at where the 0.382 is, $56,000 zone. Okay, I can now go a little bit more crazy and I can say, okay, let me go and use magnets, but it will still differ depending on which exchange you use to trade on. So if I magnet this thing to get it exactly where it needs to be. Okay, now I've got the exact price, $56,613. Usually what I have seen on the smaller time frames, 1 hour time frame, 4 hour time frame, all the damn time frames, is with an impulse to the upside, when price comes back down to the first major Fibonacci level, it at least gets a bounce. It at least gets a bounce. And then it can continue. Okay, and I'm looking to take advantage of that move. It can claim the high, it can be a larger bounce. I don't know how high the bounce is going to go, but it's a damn interesting zone for me. Okay, it's also a demand zone. This was a massive 6 month, if I'm not mistaken, 6 or 5 month demand zone. Guys, I remember this consolidation area. All the live stream, all the YouTube updates I did during this, it was a long, boring range to trade. Don't know if you guys remember, if you were still here. Okay, this was a boring range to trade. But during this entire consolidation, okay, there was a theme that came out. I told everyone the highs is going to be claimed again. There's a high probability that the highs are going to be claimed again. Okay, because yeah, everyone was screaming for $44,000. Price turned around. Okay, right, so to answer that question, yes, if price comes down to $25,000, DSD, okay, I will buy. It's not the end, because it's still a higher low. If price comes down to $25,000, guess what? It's still a higher low. And there's a chance for price to absolutely, because you could say, well, that's a wave 1. This is a wave 2. Whoops, that's a bad 2 over there. Right, that's a wave 2, wave 1, and it can go up for a wave 3. Or this is a A, and this is a B. And it goes up for a C. I don't care if it's a C or a 3, it's beautiful waves to trade. I just want to see what the levels looks like on the regular scale. So on the regular scale, price is just shy of the 0.618. Hasn't tapped the 0.618 yet. So it would be very strange, not impossible, but it would be very strange for price to turn around exactly where it is now, not tap the 0.618, not tap the 0.382, and just bounce. To see that and miss a level completely on both scales, the log scale and the logarithmic scale, or the log scale and the regular scale, it would be very strange to see a bigger bounce to the upside without price at least claiming a proper Fibonacci level. Usually you see those bounces when price has claimed a proper level. And now you have on the logarithmic scale, you have the 0.382 at $56,600, and you have the 0.618 at $57,775, which is a lot closer. So technically for me to see a larger bounce to the upside, I would at least want price to claim the 0.618. It can front run the 0.382 on the log scale, but at least on the regular scale, it has claimed a Fibonacci level. Okay, you can also see this is basically what I am anticipating on the logarithmic scale. On the regular scale that I'm showing you now, when price made the upwards momentum and it tapped the 0.382 for the first time, look at that nice bounce to the upside. And this is what I'm anticipating here on the logarithmic scale. Perhaps it's going to give us that similar bounce. It's going to give us at least maybe that bounce. Okay, maybe it gives us that bounce. Or it can be a bigger bounce to the upside. I don't know, but I'm interested in a long in that zone. Right. Obviously, I will keep the community up to date. I do share what I personally do from a trading perspective inside of the community. Sometimes I catch the trades and I share what I'm trading or how I'm trading, where I'm putting my stop loss, taking profits. And sometimes, like yesterday, I missed the short. I missed the short yesterday. Okay, it is what it is. And but I will share that inside of the community. Okay, if this happens outside of the stream, because I can't be here the whole day on YouTube, if I jump into a long in that zone, I will share inside of the community where I'm jumping into that long and how I'm managing my risk. Okay, if you want to be part of the community, you can send me the word access. There's my Telegram, and I'll send you the instructions if you don't want to miss out on the analysis that Andy's showing or sharing at the moment, or how I share my personal approach to the markets. Because I know it gets scary, but I can do it responsibly, guys. Okay, for me at least. I know that I can do it responsibly, because during this momentum to the downside, was it this one? Okay, during this fall to the downside, during that fall to the downside, it was not easy to look for this long. I had a couple of attempts, but myself and Andy have developed a trading strategy where I can do it responsibly. Be wrong, get stopped out with profits, look at the next level. Okay. I did do a live stream where I basically explained how I got into this long. I did do a live stream. I think it was on Friday. When was this? Wednesday. Yeah, this was on, I did a live stream on Wednesday, how I got into this long. Step by step, how many times did I get stopped out? I'm not sure if I still have it here in my positions. Yep, there. Got stopped out. I'm not going to go through all the details again, but basically, in a nutshell, I got stopped out once, twice, 3 times, and then the 4th one, I caught it here to the upside. 2 of them, I got stopped out with profits, and 1 of them, I got stopped out with a loss. So even with the 3 stoppages along the way, I didn't lose money. So I can do it responsibly, because I know there's a lot of YouTube influencers that, rightfully so, will tell people do not try and catch a falling knife and do not try and catch a rocket to the upside. But there's a way in which I can do it responsibly. But you have to be disciplined. You have to take the knock like a big boy. Okay, you have to maintain position size, not, go in with your entire account at 100x leverage, risk 1%, 2% per trade. And this little, after these stoppages, I know after that stop and that stop and that stop, this trade paid back the 1 stop loss plus way more profits into my account. I was expecting higher. What am I doing here? Okay, by the way, guys, this green box that's overshadowing everything here is basically that short that I'm still in. Okay, it's basically the short that I'm still in. I'm still in that short, so I've just extended the box here to the downside. And right. So obviously I got stopped. I think I did actually take more profits. I need to drag this up. If I remember correctly, I will go check my trading journal, but I did take more profits here at the highs. So that was actually the trade. I did take more profits here at the highs. And I think I did it inside of the live stream. Never hurts to take a little bit more profits, and I scratch on more profits. Price fell to the downside, stopped me out with profits. Okay. But the trades that are most interesting to me are the bigger ones. Okay. The bigger trades. That was a nice little trade. This is a nice little short. I'm now in this long. For now, made a nice bit of money. Okay, I can go through every single trade. I must probably remember every one of them, especially if I open up my trading journal as well. But I mean, for me, it's important to long the bottoms and to short the tops, where I did jump into a short, took profits from the long, jumped into a short, nice trade, long, okay, long. It was long, short. Caught the tippy top over there, and all of these trades were shared, well, most of them were shared inside of the community. I would say about 94% of these trades were shared inside of the community. And I do share this, sometimes we get it wrong. I get stopped out with a loss, but I manage my risk. And so when I get stopped out with a loss, it's a tiny amount that I'm losing. And then, you know, win, lost. But I was still in then this bigger long year to the upside. So the long basically paid for those 2 or 3 stop losses, basically. Okay. Messy structure, got stoppages, one, you know, it's not always great. It's not always happy days. But then I catch these big ones that just puts money into the account, you know, happy days, stopped. This one played out, by the way. You just need to add the emoji there. That one played out. Okay, but you guys get the point, I suppose. Right. I missed this fall to the downside, got stopped out once. I think the community remembers I was trying to catch this one over here, got stopped out with $1,000 or $1,500. Played out, long played out. Now I'm in this short and I'm looking for a long at the bottom of the range, and that is what's important to me. Okay. Let's continue with the technical analysis. Uncle Cyril, yes, that's so important. Where did I see that? I'm finally reaching a stage where I don't care about missing a trade. Yes, me too. I do not have to trade every single opportunity. I don't have to, because I know that there's always another trade around the corner. If price action doesn't make sense, guys, this is such an important thing that Mr. Cyril is saying. Okay? If price action doesn't make sense, this is a mess, guys. It's an absolute mess. And I've said that in the community. I think Andy spoke about this mess as well. Andy is also just leaning on the camp of, guys, I need price to pop out of this range. It needs to pop either up or it needs to fall down where we're looking for the long and where we're looking for the short at resistance above. This is a very difficult, messy range to trade. And when there's a mess, I often stay out of the market. And I wait for price to get to break out, just to show me a direction and to show me something that makes sense. Okay. Because every time you enter a trade or you're forcing a trade, trading a structure that doesn't make sense to you, you're bleeding out your account until price shows you something that you were waiting for a week or two, and then it does that move and you have no money left to trade because you've been stuffing around in a zone where you had no business in trading, for example. Okay, unless you can do it with good risk management. Okay, like this little scalp that am I still in that scalp? Yes, I'm still in there. $15 profit. Okay. Right. Unless you are scalping responsibly. This is the little scalp that I'm still in. $15 profit. Okay. But I'm applying a trading strategy with a clear invalidation and I'm following my 3 W's. Why am I entering? It's breaking out. Where is my stop loss? Below the okay, my stop loss is supposed to go below that low, but I'm giving it a little bit of a tighter stop loss for this trade. Where am I planning to take profits? 0.382 is my first TP. 0.618, okay, above the highs, more resistance. And then most likely I will be 80% out of my trade here and leave a runner if it wants to continue. Okay, let's discuss what I wanted to show everyone here on the daily time frame. I spoke about this on Sunday as well, and I spoke about this last week Friday. Well, I actually speak about this very often, okay, is that when the smaller time frames are confusing because they can give you analysis paralysis, what I like to do is zoom out. Because on the daily time frame, I can see a clear move to the downside and a correction. So I know that that is one move, 1, 2. and there's a 3. Okay, so if it's going to form a 5-wave structure, it's missing another leg, because I can see 1, 2, 3. Maybe this is 4 crazy messy structure that doesn't make sense, corrective, high probability, corrective, and then it creates that final 5th wave here that you can clearly see on the daily time frame. Well, after a 5-wave structure to the downside, bare minimum price forms a corrective structure and then continues, and that's the move I want to take advantage of. Worst case scenario is that this forms a wave 1, this forms a wave 2, and then woof, it goes back down in a wave 3. So it's just about how I manage my trades. Best case scenario is that this is the end of the bigger structure. This is the end of the bigger structure, and price forms a larger structure back to the upside. This could also be a B and it goes up for a C that claims the highs. You never know, and that's how it's just about managing the trade. Leaving a runner. Okay, but it is interesting that looking at the structure on the higher time frame, I can see, okay, that there's a mess over here. So that could be your 1 and your 2. Then I see a massive drop to the downside with the highest amount of volume. High amount of volume usually is wave 3. Also much longer than this little structure over here. Very aggressive, very, okay, liquidatey. It liquidates positions. It scares the crap out of everyone. Highest amount of volume. Then price corrects in a 3-wave structure and falls to the downside again on decreasing volume. So it looks like the structure is coming to an end. Okay, and that's why I think that a bounce in this zone makes more sense for me, because the most damage inside of this structure was already done. Okay, I know that there are people talking about this. Let's do this. I know there are people talking about this. What if this happens? It's not impossible, but what are the probabilities? Okay, it just doesn't carry the highest probability. Price took the low again on decreasing volume. Most of the amount of volume in this structure sits here. So typically you have, remember, the market moves in 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to get another capitulation inside of the same structure is just rare to see that. It's just rare, guys. And then I have to come to the conclusion that if I start looking at the macro time frame, maybe it is... Remember the scenario that I discussed on Sunday, I believe, okay? Where price has basically formed an ABC in a W, okay, 3-wave structure in an X, and then maybe this is a B, C, and then it finishes the Y wave. So can it happen? Yes, there's an Elliott Wave scenario that supports it. It's just very aggressive, very rare to see that without a bounce at the 0.382. But I mean, definitely something that can play out. It's just the probability of this playing out is not great. If this had to play out, a WXY ABC inside of a Y wave. Did you know that after you have a 3-wave structure to the downside, and you label that A, and price forms a B back to the upside, B has to retrace 90% of this move. So even, you know, with a $47,000 target drop here to the downside, maybe even $44,000 drop here to the downside, that bounce it can be very rewarding. Because after a 3-wave structure down, this can be labeled a wave A. B has to go and tap the 0.9 as a minimum. Okay, how crazy would that be if this scenario had to play out? Let me just draw it out for everyone. But this is higher time frame stuff, guys, and this is, we don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes a low probability scenario do play out, but now you have to, okay, this forms an A, forms a B, and a C back to the downside. Let me do this, make it as big as I can so that everyone can see. Is it this one? Yeah, let's do that. Right, so what price could do over here, just want to take that one flip out the way. There we go. Is this. Now, how confusing will that be? Price can even take the high. How many people are going to believe if we get another capitulation to the downside to hit $44,000, for example, and price bounces here, people are going to believe that the bull market is back. And maybe they're going to get handsomely rewarded here to the upside, but what they are not going to expect is this. Okay, because euphoria is going to kick in here before price claims the high. Back at all-time high, 4-year cycle theory is broken. We're going up, it's only up, and then price falls down and goes to $24,000. Okay, that's definitely still a scenario where price basically forms a flat structure after the impulse. It forms a flat structure. Whether it takes the high, whether it doesn't take the high, still a possibility. Now, this would be in an emotional roller coaster. So I will definitely be interested in longs, even if price capitulates to the downside in a 535, which is basically an ABC inside of a Y wave. But now you have to yeah, let me just leave it at that. I just have to redraw the structure. Okay, basically A, B, C, W, 3-wave corrective structure in X, and an A, B, C to complete the Y wave. So basically that moves over there. Can it happen? Yes. But then I'm going to be even more interested in longs from a spot perspective. From a spot perspective, if price gets to 44K, I'm going to be very interested in longs because I know that it can form a. Okay. Is there a possibility for this to be the low after this high? It doesn't really make sense from a timing perspective. And this is why if price capitulates here to the downside to $44,000, $42,000, price can get a significant bounce. Okay. And maybe that's the bounce that we get, but it has to retrace, at least retrace 90% of the move in a B wave. So if I take a fib from the high of the structure to wherever that low is, you can see the 0.9. B has to tap the 0.9 in an ABC flat. Okay, especially if A is a 3-wave structure. W, X, Y here to the downside. So if this is a 3-wave structure in A, B has to retrace at least 90%. At least 90%. $114,000. You can just imagine if this scenario had to play out, the emotional roller coaster. Okay. Buy. And I can tell you now, people that buy here and price starts moving here to the upside, okay, are going to expect continuation because they're going to believe that the bear market is done. Bear market is over. From the low to the high, what a deep retracement. Bear market is done, and now we are expecting a third wave here to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside. And then it falls down. And the reason I think a larger corrective structure will carry higher probability is time. So if I take a time and I measure how long did it take the impulse from the low to the high, you can see that if price capitulates here to the downside, it's not time yet for the correction to be done. It hasn't even crossed the minimum target time is never an invalidation, but it will be rare to see something like this. Now, if it forms a larger three-wave structure, then, well, it's time for that bounce that is meant to happen. Okay, so interesting scenario if we do get that capitulation to the downside. Right, I want to include this bars pattern in the scenario, and I want to include the time fib, and I can get rid of the rest. That would be an interesting scenario from a psychology perspective. Dump it already, 40k in one candle. I'm finally reaching a stage where I don't care. Oh, I've gone through that. Thanks, Mr. Cyril. Devil, don't you think that the future of crypto going down to the hills since AI taking over? Is anybody going to need crypto? Peros, I'm not really a fundamental person. I have read the white paper of Bitcoin. So from an investment perspective, I am convinced that long term it will still take the high again. And that's my personal research, guys. I am not a financial advisor. I encourage you to do your own research. If you don't believe in the fundamentals and the reason why Bitcoin is here in the first place, then you shouldn't be buying Bitcoin. If you're a Bitcoin maxi, you've read the white paper, you are convinced from an investment perspective, then you want to get Bitcoin a discount, not buy the all-time highs. You want to buy the dips. I can just share with you what I am doing. All of my money, guys, are not in Bitcoin. I have a massive portfolio in Bitcoin, but I don't put all of my money in Bitcoin. I have a diversified portfolio. Okay, I think it would also be stupid to put all of your money in crypto. I think that's stupid. There needs to be some gold exposure. There needs to be maybe S&P 500, maybe some Tesla, maybe some SpaceX. You need to have a balanced portfolio. Well, for me, I need to have a balanced portfolio. I can't be overexposed in only one, because what if, and the reason I have a diversified portfolio is exactly what you said right now, is that what if crypto dies? Then I have my other things that picks it up. Okay, and doesn't kill all my life savings because I only put all my eggs in one basket. So yes, am I convinced that Bitcoin will still be here in the next 20 to 30 years? I think it will, based on my personal research. And this is why I have a Bitcoin portfolio. But you need to do your own research. Okay. And when I say, guys, I even have a song that says, I'm a Bitcoin maxi. It does not mean that all my money is in Bitcoin. No. I've learned that lesson the hard way. Do you guys remember the Luna crash? I had a big portfolio in Luna because of one damn influencer. I was still young and I can't say I was young and stupid. I was just very stupid from an investment perspective. Okay, I put way too much money in Luna. And yeah, I think you all know who that crypto influencer was that was just pushing it, and then all hell broke loose. Okay. I lost all of that money. Right, so now let's get back here onto the structure. Just want to make sure that I still have some scenarios to discuss over here. Yes, let's discuss a little bit of support and resistance. So, ironically, price is here in the middle between major support and resistance. Remember, guys, this support and resistance I draw up from the higher time frame. I use volume, I use Fibonacci levels, I look at price action. There's a lot of work for me from a technical perspective that goes into what you see over here. Okay. You will see all my resistance is red and support is green, and when price gets above a certain level, I will change the color. And you can see that the first area of major support lies exactly at the 0.382. So naturally that becomes an interesting longing opportunity. Sorry guys, I see my camera has switched off because it's getting a little bit toasty here in my room. I will switch it back on in about 2 minutes. Just give it some time to cool down. Let me just do this. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, you should still be able to hear me. There we go. Sorry guys, my camera just needs 2 minutes to find itself, and then I'll switch it back on. But you can see that there is support at the 0.382. Okay, support. Okay, price has not come back to this level just as yet. So when it comes back to this level, naturally I'm interested in a long. A little bit further down from a support perspective is at 50,000, let's call it $51,000. There's more support and it's in confluence with that little order block. Okay. So if price loses this zone, naturally I will be interested in $51,000. Okay. Also massive area of support at $44,000. Then $37,000. Then $33,000. $28,000. Okay. And I will keep on updating these levels as price updates and based on new price action. When I switch back to the regular scale, because I like to use the log scale for higher time frame analysis, you will see that that pocket of support is slightly below the 0.618. Okay, when I take a fib from the all-time low to the high 0.618, this is where the pocket of support is. So if price continues down here, okay, I'm just showing you guys, well, when price hits support, especially on the higher time frames, I'm interested in longs. If price loses the support, I want to get stopped out and not be underwater because price could accelerate to the downside. Okay, 56, this could be a 6,000 move here to the downside. I don't want to be that person that is underwater with an entry over here and prices over here. I don't want to be that person. I'd rather get stopped out. Okay, and then look for a new long further down. Right. What's also interesting is the channel. Do you guys see this channel that I have over here? Okay, I got that from the base of the structure. I need to go back to the daily time frame to show you guys that. Okay. In Elliott Wave theory, they teach you about channeling, where you basically build a channel with wave 1 and wave 2. Wave 1, wave 2. Okay. And then you want to see the acceleration above the channel. Okay, that was nice acceleration above the channel. And now price, look at how it SFP'd the top of the channel. That's also where I placed that long. Okay, naked point of control of this entire range. I traded this in a different way, but you can see how it pierced the top of the channel, bounced on top of the channel, and now finally it's back inside of the channel, and now the bottom of this channel also aligns with support and the 0.618, the 0.382 from a logarithmic perspective. So it is definitely an interesting longing zone for me down there. And I know, guys, I sound like a broken record, but I'm just showing you the confluence. Why am I interested in a long? I don't even have to count this from an Elliott Wave perspective based on channeling, which is basically a trend. Okay, if I switch this off, and I show you that, I'm basically waiting for price to come back home. There's no Elliott Wave counts in here. It's just price has not tapped the bottom of the trend just as yet. So if it does, I will be interested in a long because price is coming back home. It could give a nice bounce and continue, and I want to take advantage of that move, or it finds support here and it gets a bigger bounce to the upside. So, right. And, okay, so let's see. I most probably got stopped out of that trade. Yeah, guys, I got stopped out of my little scalp 2-bit trade. But this is the most interesting zone where I'm looking for along. Okay, and I know I've said that in many different ways all over, but that's basically where I'm going to be paying attention. And if I switch all of this off, how I'm going to get into that trade is using my levels. So if I zoom into the structure here on the 1 hour time frame, okay, so it just looks less messy. I will treat each of these lines as a swing failure line. Do you guys remember the daily? There was a daily level here. Exactly. That is what I want to see. Over there. Over there. Maybe in this zone. I don't know how deep it's going to go. Okay. But the first level is the daily level at $57,000, 305. And I will keep the community up to date when this little plan gets executed. It might be an easy one. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe it's easy like what happened here. Maybe it's an easy one because these ones are easier. Dips below, gets acceptance back above. I enter, stop below the low, price pushes up, take profits, protect position, happy days. Now you just sit on your hands and you wait. So maybe it's going to be that one. Or maybe it's just going to get that choppy little structure, you know, bouncing at each level, SFPing. It could be a very difficult trade to get into. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know that I am a very persistent trader. Okay, I can play an SFP at each level and eventually catch that little bit of the long. If I zoom out into the larger time frames, okay, you can see that there's a pocket of levels over here. Just something that I highlighted last time as well. But there's a blank space over here from a levels perspective. I'm specifically talking about levels. Okay, so this zone for me needs to hold because I don't really want to be part of a trade inside of this zone because there's just no levels for me to play SFPs from unless I see a 5-wave structure. Maybe price does this 5-wave structure up, 3-wave down, then I'll get interested in a long. But it's a difficult zone to play or to catch along without any levels. I did see that there's a weekly order block that has already been claimed, so it's not as strong. Okay, I have a weekly order block over here. Do you guys see? There's a weekly order block. It has already been claimed. So this morning, I just went through an exercise to make sure that I have every single level that I need in this zone. Oh, I need to switch on the monthly levels as well. Okay, so you can see it's an open space. So there's a little bit of an order block. If price gets here, I will see what's going to happen inside of this order block. I don't really like it because it's already been tapped, which means it's not as strong. But it can still find support in that zone. And yeah, these are basically all the weekly, monthly, daily naked point of controls that I have. Okay, and this morning I just went through an exercise and well, actually the closest level is the naked monthly point of control literally below the low. So if price is going to do any front running, okay, it's most probably going to do it there. Oops, that's too deep. If this level is not going to be claimed and it ignores all of these levels, that's the one where the front running is going to happen. Monthly naked point of control. Okay, basically price claims the low. And that's what you want to see here on the daily time frame. If I go to the daily time frame, you basically want to see a nice little 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minimum requirement for that 5th wave is to take the low of 3. And if it's going to front run, that will be the zone. Right, legends. Before I continue, I just need a quick bathroom break, and just to go and fetch another something to drink. I just want to fill up my water bottle with some lemon juice. I will be back in a second, and hopefully by that time I will be able to switch my camera back on. So let's see what happens when I come back.
When I glow from a silent screen, heart beat loud in the in-between. World asleep but my mind won't rest. Standing right on tomorrow's edge. Numbers fall and the candles shake. Every risk is a step I take. No applause and no safety net. Just a promise I haven't met. I've been down where the doubt is loud. I've been lost in the digital crowd, but the signal cuts through the noise and it pulls me now. I'm standing on tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway. No guarantees, but I'm on my way. If I fall, I rise. That's the game I play. Tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway.
Late night glow from a silent screen. Heartbeat loud in the in-between. World asleep but my mind won't rest. Standing right on tomorrow's edge. Numbers fall and the candles shake. Every risk is a step I take. No applause and no safety net. Just a promise I have.
I've been down with it loud. I've been lost in a digital crowd, but the signal cuts through the noise and it pulls me now. I'm standing on tomorrow's edge. I jump anyway. No guarantees, but I'm on my
Okay, I'm back and the camera is back. Now you guys can see my pretty face once again. Right, let's take that out. So price is dumpy here to the downside. Oh, it would be nice to get that little SFP here live on the live stream so I can take that trade. Okay, if I get stopped out of my long here on Bluffin, I will definitely attempt to trade there at the naked monthly point of control, a little bit further down the daily level. So let's see. Just want to take the scribble here out the way. And then I'm going to go through some comments again. Okay, I'm not sure if I tackled all the scenarios yet, but I will go through the folder and see. Ooh. I put way too much lemon in this water. Ugh. Anyways, let's see if I'm going to get stopped out of this short, because then obviously I will be looking for a new out of this long, then I'll be looking for a new long. Right, let's go back here to the 1 hour time frame. Bigger triangle. I know someone has been talking about a bigger triangle. What if this is a 1, 2, 3 triangle in a 4 and it goes down for the 5th wave? Still a scenario, definitely. A, B, C, D, not allowed to claim the low, E, and then it falls down. So yes, triangle is still a possibility, but you still need D to not take the low, and then you need the E for the short, because it's the E point that's the shorting point. There was also another triangle that I discussed yesterday here on the smaller time frame. Let's go to the 15-minute. Okay, that could be playing out already. Maybe the triangle is finished. Just want to make sure that I can find it. Yeah, let's just switch off, clean up the kitchen. And local ABCDE. This was the triangle that I discussed yesterday. Okay, let's just take this out the way. And that was the shorting plan, by the way. And I did see some of the community members did jump into the short. Okay, where it's an A, B, C, D, E. E is not allowed to claim. That's the invalidation for the scenario. Then you could say, well, you have an impulse down, correction, and now continuation here to the downside to complete the fifth wave. Okay, or price, like I've highlighted, forms a larger triangle. Triangles, they can be confusing. It can be a small triangle, it can be a big triangle, you never know, okay, where it basically extends. But to your point, a triangle is possible. A, B, C, maybe it's forming D over here, does not take the low of B, it's not allowed to take the low of B, and then E is where the shorting opportunity lies. Okay. Preferably E takes the low of this structure over here. Preferably, it at least takes the low of this structure. So that is also a longing opportunity. SFP from the lows. If price gets down here, gets acceptance back above, nowhere to put the stop loss, entry. Okay, take profits on the way up because it could fall down and then have a small little E wave over there. But the E is not allowed to take the C point. So yes, a triangle is a possibility in this local structure. Guys, this is just, it's a mess. Okay, I'll be honest with you, this is a mess. I need price to leave this zone where I'll be looking for trades. Okay, I'm already positioned in this long, so if price turns around, I will make more money to the upside at least. But then the shorts become interesting again because I do have my local resistance here to the upside, okay, where I'll be looking for shorts. So if I take a fib from the high of the structure, let's say price does not take the low and it just turns around and it moves up. Okay, 0.382, which is basically an SFP from these highs. I will be looking for a short. First shorting opportunity that I'll be looking for. You have a consolidation area, more resistance here to the upside. SFP from the high at the 0.5. So if I do jump into a short higher up, I will definitely let the community know because there is the possibility, okay, and this is now the worst case scenario that I have not spoken about. What if this structure is done? What if the structure is done or done over there, and this is all part of a larger three-wave structure, then the dump happens. And that's basically where that 535 comes from on the larger time frame. Okay, so if I clean this up and I just show everyone what I mean, I can take this out the way. This is a scenario that I shared yesterday in the community. I just want to make sure that it's not that one. It's not that one. Okay, I did shuffle my folders around a little bit. Man, where did I save that thing? I know it's inside of the community. Let me go and check it out in the community. Okay. There we go. So yesterday I shared this inside of the community. So in a nutshell, worst case scenario is price is formed. Let me draw it out. It's a simple structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is done. Okay, this becomes a wave 1. It's now busy with the correction for wave 2, so it shoots up, doesn't take the low, it just starts shooting up, and then it falls down in a 3, 4, 5. Okay, the most bearish case scenario is that the impulse is done. It doesn't look great. There's a couple of, well, there's one specific issue that I see with this scenario. Wave 4 is incredibly short compared to wave 2. Not an invalidation, there's no overlap. You can see that there's no overlap between wave 4 and wave 1. So it's valid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this forms a larger 3-wave structure. Nice little resistance over there, and then it falls down 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this can get very, very nasty to the downside. And now I have to link this to the bigger structure as well, because I just want to show everyone how nasty can this get. Minimum common target for your wave 3 is usually the 618, and then 5th wave usually bounces on the 2 extension. You're just using some common targets over here. But then this could be, just to get those levels, on the larger time frame, remember what I was discussing over here, this could be this one, WXY. A, B, C and a W, 3-wave structure and an X, and an A, 3, okay, basically a 5, 3, 5 inside of the Y wave. Find support, $42,000, 41, but in the zone, basically find support. So if price, and this is now the thing, if price moves up and invalidates a 5th wave to the downside, this is what I mean. Yeah, in this structure. Okay, let me not lose my bearings over here, because remember the other count, let me just take the lines out of the way. Because remember the other count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if 4 is going to move over there, it's not allowed to overlap the territory of 1. Okay, so what I'm trying to say over here is if price turns around and it overlaps, then there's still a chance that this impulse is done, and this is part of a larger 3-wave structure, and it's still going to fall to the downside. So you're never out of the woods, never out of the woods. We'll still be looking for shorting opportunities. It's not to say that price stops here, it starts moving up, that it's just going to continue to the upside. It's not to say. Okay, there's still a lot of resistance here to the upside, where I can successfully enter maybe a scalp short that turns into a swing trade, that turns into a day trade that turns into a swing trade. And this is why I'm still holding on to this short. I'm not closing the short yet, because I know that even if price moves up here in a larger 3-wave structure, invalidating this little 5th wave here to the downside, there's still a chance that the impulse is done, 3-wave up, 3rd wave to the downside. Let's just do this. It's not a pretty, I must say, this structure to be done over here is not pretty, but it's valid. Okay, also you have the 1 in an expanding structure. This is now where I get very picky in terms of looking at the internal structures. For a 1 to have an expanding structure, rare. That's fine. Okay, then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fifth wave extension in a fifth wave, which is again not an invalidation, rare for a third wave. And then tiny little 4 and a final fifth wave to the downside. But it can still play out. So if price finds its feet here, not claiming the low, and it takes these highs again, start overlapping, okay, with wave 1, then I'm going to say, well, there's a chance for this structure to still reject. So yes, I will still benefit from the long that I'm in, but I'll definitely be taking profits here to the upside, especially when price starts hitting resistance. Okay, there's my resistance area. I might have to just extend them a little bit. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay, just want to extend them a little bit. There we go. To 8 hour order block still there above. That has not been claimed. Okay, what's interesting about this resistance to the upside is I can do it in two ways. Can take a fixed range volume profile and I can switch on the VRVP, very similar. Okay, you can see where I get those resistance areas from. But also based on price action. I don't just do it from a volume perspective. I also see how price reacts or reacted in those areas. You can see resistance. Okay, resistance, 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 resistance. Price is struggling here, resistance. Point of control of the entire range, where the most amount of volume was traded inside of this entire range. So if price does not take the low and turns back up, I will still be looking for shorts. At all these levels, I will be looking for shorts. The most interesting ones, close enough here, is basically this 3 pivots. Okay. From a timing perspective, it doesn't make sense for this to be the high if this is the end of the impulse. Okay, so if I take time into consideration and I speculate, well, impulse started from the high to this low. You can see that if this is the end of the impulse, this high was made way before the 0.382. So if price turns around, moves back up, well, now that is better. It takes the high and it makes the high after the minimum requirements. Point of control does look very interesting. Okay, forms a 3-wave structure, rejects, falls to the downside. So I know, guys, I'm going through a lot of scenarios, but it gives me trading opportunities because what if? Because I've been hammering this point so many times. Okay, let me take all of this out the way. I don't need that now, right? I have been hammering this point for so long that I'm looking for a long. What if it doesn't come here and it moves back up first? Okay, so I have to talk about these scenarios so that I have I will still short at the point, I will still look for short at the point of control of this entire range. Pay attention to the, SFP from the high. You can make it simpler and just take the fib like that. So that one needs to stay the way that it did. Sorry, by the way. Okay, let me go through some comment section. Dollar is dropping. I just long not sure what will gonna happen. I just long not sure what will gonna happen. Oosh. Okay, longing without a plan is a recipe for disaster. You can get lucky, but luck runs out. Please check BTC 5-minute time frame. Where was that trading plan? Oh, took the low, adjust the trend. That's my rule. I have to adjust the trend. So if it breaks this trend, I will enter another long. If it breaks this trend, know exactly where to put my stop loss, targeting the highs. So for now, there is no trade for me to be taken. Okay. Just want to see something here. I attempted this little one just before the live stream. Before I started, it broke out. Okay, looks like it wanted to get upwards momentum. There was bearish CVD that I pointed out, stopped me out. Luckily I had a nice little tight stop loss, and but now for me, based on this strategy, there's no long just as yet. I cannot long that. It's not above trend, so I can't execute my rules. But this is the little scalp that I'm looking for. Okay, I don't know if it's going to get to the highs, but let's just say, and you know, it at least gets here to this value area high. The risk to reward for me still makes sense. If it only gets to the 0.382, then I would arguably say that's my minimum requirement. So my trading plan could be to say that, okay, if price is above, I will enter and I will close my trade at the 0.382 SFP from the high. Okay, but for now, for me, there's no trade. What I can do is set an alarm so that if my alarm goes off, then I'll pay attention. Okay, but like I said, guys, if I do jump into a fresh trade, I will update the community. I see Andy is sharing, or have shared, a lot of scenarios inside of the community already. And if you want to be part of the community, remember, send me the word access to my Telegram. There's my Telegram, and I'll send you the instructions on how you can join the community, because that is where Andy spends his day today, is inside of the community. You will not be doing a YouTube live stream. Tomorrow, I'm not going to be here. I'll be inside of the community. If I jump into a trade, I will share inside of the community, shorting opportunities. And by the way, and this was the short that yesterday, it was either, I've actually forgot to finish this conversation. Local WXY. This was the short that I also spoke about yesterday in the community. So guys, this could be a little WXY corrective structure, and I think the levels that I had highlighted was the 0.618, 786, and the 1-to-1 extension. And I had the Y wave just there in the middle to say I don't know where it's going to reject. So maybe, you know, you have your W, you have a complex corrective structure in an X, and then it's now pushing up here for a ABC in a Y wave, rejected at the 0.618, and price fell to the downside. So still a beautiful trade here to the downside. If you maintained your stop loss above the high, depending on where you entered, maybe you're still part of this move, but nonetheless, that was a beautiful trade here to the downside at rejection at the 0.618. And some people did send me a message yesterday to say that they got into that trade. I was like, well done, because I missed it. And I think someone in the community actually asked me, Devil, did you get in? And I was like, no, I missed it. I missed my own damn trade. That it happens. I don't care, guys. If I miss a trade, I don't FOMO into a trade. Okay, maybe that was the WXY. Now it's forming a 1, 2, 3. Oh, a very choppy 3. Okay, maybe that was the Y over there. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It was the fib extension that was important to me. But yeah, where price is now, I cannot long. I cannot do anything over here. Nothing. There's nothing for me to do. There's no short, there's no long. The only long is on the 5-minute time frames that I will consider is this one. But price needs to be above the trend for me to consider this trade. I can't do anything there because I'm not fulfilling my 3 Ws. I'm not following my trading rules. And it's when I'm not following my trading rules, that's when, that's where the wheels fall off. That's where you blow holes in your account. That's where you just force a trade for the sake of trading. I can't do anything here, guys, based on my trading strategies. There's no SFP levels here. There's nothing. Okay. All the levels are to the downside. All the levels are to the downside. Daily level and weekly point of control got a rejection already. This daily level was not an easy one, but I can actually remove these levels from the chart. I don't need them. So I can't execute an SFP and I cannot enter long. Because based on my trading strategies, there's nothing for me to do here. Unless you have a different trading strategies and you have a clear plan and you know exactly what you're going to do over here. By all means, please do not let me impact and influence your plan. I am not a financial advisor. You need to follow your own plan. Can price SFP from this low? I don't like that low. I like that one more. If price is going to SFP maybe from that low, then I can play an SFP. And it's simple. I just have a level ready. Dips below, gets above, get the reaction, and I can enter. Because there's still that bigger triangle idea. Okay, A, B, C. Yeah, I want to say D, E, and then continuation, but you have such a complex corrective structure inside of your A, B, C, D in your D wave. It's a very complex corrective structure, but this one is also very complex. And usually only one of the legs have a complex corrective structure. Anyways, it's still an option that could play out. I don't really like triangles. I always try and find a different count than a triangle, but what I can tell everyone is it's a mess. It really is a mess. Okay, I need price to leave this zone. All I can do now is trade little scalps like I'm doing over here. All I can do is just trade little scalps here. But from a bigger swing trade perspective, it's in the middle of nowhere for me. It needs to come to my levels here to the downside. Grab the liquidity. And this is basically what it's about, patience. Okay. Sometimes you need to look at the structure. For me, sometimes I look at the structure and I'm like, I'm not trading this. So I do other things. I go to gym, do washing, wash the dishes, make food, play with the dogs. Go for a walk, do something else, take a break, okay, because the structure doesn't make sense for me to place a trade. And it's going to happen. And it happens. Not many times, but it does happen. And then it's almost like the market gives me a little bit of time off. It's like, yeah, well, just relax. There's nothing for you to do here. Just go and relax. Okay, I'll take it. Okay. Unless you have a clear plan, unless this makes sense to you, you know exactly how to trade this, then trade your plan. But for me, this is not a clear structure to trade. Okay, even the little breakouts here to the upside and to the downside is so, look at that breakout, it's so choppy. Yeah, this was not an easy long to take here to the upside. Maybe even that little breakout, broke out, fell back to the downside. So it's, it's even the D-line strategy is struggling inside of this range. Sometimes you just have to say it's a no trade zone for me. Okay, I'm not sure how you guys feel. Maybe you have a clear plan. Okay, but for me, this is a no trade zone. Seems like we are going down today. It would be nice to get the drop, because then I'll get interested in a long. Difference. Can you look at Aave? Oh, you guys still want me to look at some altcoins. Missing Paz Maria comments on the stream. Yeah, she's always so positive. She's taking a break at the moment, but I'm sure she'll be back in no time. Okay. Monthly point of control looks nice for a long. Yes, it's definitely a level that I will consider. I do have to highlight, it can happen. Okay, this is what I'm waiting for as well. If price falls down, this can happen. That can happen. I'm looking, it's basically an SFP from the low. Okay. Based on my backtesting results, and I'm not sure if you've done the effort to do it yourself as well. Based on my backtesting results, monthly levels, monthly naked point of controls usually gives failed auctions, and they don't give swing failure patterns. Sometimes they do, but very rarely. Often what happens with a monthly naked point of control, what I've seen is they give price a failed auction. So they do this. And then they turn around. And there's so many candles below the level, but it slows down as it's hitting the level, and it slowly starts curling back up. So it gives you a failed auction, which means it's finding support. It's just chopping, and eventually it starts turning around. Especially monthly levels. They love to do failed auctions instead of swing failure patterns, which means it looks like it's losing the level, but it's not. It's a failed auction, which means there's higher time frame candles below the level, and then it starts reversing. SFP is grabs liquidity, bounces back up. Failed auction is it's a lot slower, and then it turns around. And I have seen monthly levels love to do failed auctions. They're not so great on SFPs. Okay, so just something to keep in the back of your mind. Okay, in case you are planning to place a limit order here, and if you do not have a stop loss and a clear invalidation, you need to be careful. Okay, well, I would be careful. Guys, I can't tell you how you need to trade. Okay, you do you at the end of the day. If you do trade with limit orders, please make sure that you have an invalidation. Okay, and that you manage your position size accordingly. Let's go through some more comments. And maybe I can look at a couple of altcoins. I'm not sure if people are going to jump off the off the stream if I start looking at altcoins, because usually when I start looking at altcoins, people jump off the screen, the stream. Baby Genius, deal with my brother. I trust you and Andy are well. I've had your BTC link for quite some time, mate. Will that suffice for the community? I cannot believe I have not reached out yet. Yes, please, Mr. Baby, just send me the word access to my Telegram, and you'll get the instructions now. You can join with that link. Okay, UID. There's a process that the UI will take you through. The bot will take you through. Okay, and so yeah, why not go in there? Okay, send me the word access, and I'll send you the instructions on how to join the community. Devil, it's a mess, but I remember you said 1 month ago the sideways correction, it's very possible. Yes, I know sideways correction is very possible. I know, but they are so boring. This mess here on the 15-minute time frame, this mess is very boring to trade. I like this. I know some people find it very scary. My favorite structures is a capitulation, because I always have my levels ready and I'm there like SFP. I love to trade structures like this. And very, very often I catch the bottom. I love to trade these structures, especially when they make sense. What was the other one? What was very interesting to me to trade? I placed a couple of longs inside of this structure as well, successfully. I can't remember if I caught the bottom. Let me check. Did I catch the bottom? No, but I caught it over here. I did not catch this bottom, but I caught it over here. The retracement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there was a contracting diagonal. 3-wave structure to the downside. Bullish CVD. Trend broke out as well. Anyways, that was a nice... I can't remember exactly how I got into that trade, but got in. Trend to the upside. Then it lost the trend. Okay. Price hitting resistance. Took a good chunk of profits over here. So, I mean, you can see based on my trades that most of my bigger trades are the ones that I'm patient with. And often, you know, if I read through my trading journal as well, my most successful trades is the ones that I'm very patient for. Is the long over here, the short at the top of the structure, the long, the short, the long, the short. You guys get the idea. Look at that amazing long that I rode all the way here to the upside. It's the little scalps in between that costs me money. Trying to force a trade. Okay, yes, I still apply my rules and I still apply my risk management. But you can see, if I zoom here into the 15-minute time frames and you look at the little red crosses, it is the small little trades in between the bigger trades that is costing me. Look at that. Costing me. Okay. Costing me. Costing me. And I know most of these ones were actually stopped out with profits. I just, the reason I have the crosses is just to say that it didn't play out the way that I wanted it to. And some of them I actually got stopped out with profits. So I didn't take a loss with everyone. But it's the big trades that I'm waiting. It's the ones that takes patience, the ones that happen twice a month, maybe once a month. Those are the ones that makes me the bigger amount of cash. It's the smaller ones in between. Okay, you can see that's costing me money. Look at this. Okay, it's the small little trades that's costing me money. So the interesting trade that I'm looking for is, yeah, I'm looking for a long here like the short that I caught over here. Okay, I'm looking for another little trade like this. Yes, this long was a beautiful long because I'm longing at the right place of the structure, the low of the structure. It's already a profitable trade. The long is already 8K in profits. Okay, so happy to get stopped out with profits and then look for a new long. But I'm looking for, you guys get the idea. I'm looking for this long down here. Okay, I'm looking for longs in the right place. But now I need to look for them responsibly because I'm not going to limit order this trade. I'm not going to. I already told the community I'm not going to limit order this trade. I have alarms at each level. If I go here to the daily time frame, you will see if I switch on my point of controls as well, I have 3 alarms set. Okay, I need to include an alarm on that one as well. My alarms are ready. I'm ready for this trade. Okay, 4 alarms set at these levels. I'm going to have fun inside of this zone. If I'm not live on YouTube and price starts dipping here to the downside, maybe my first alarm goes off. I might consider, if Andy's not live, or maybe it happens only tomorrow, who knows, I might go live inside of the community and, you know, trade these levels, show the community how I trade these levels. The dark side of trading, right? Look like further downs confirmed if 1 hour can close below 59k. I mean, it just looks like the structure wants to take that low. Okay, but remember this ending diagonal. This one. This one can be traded with a limit order. Okay, I'm just going to keep it simple and switch off all the levels. It depends on your analysis and it depends on your risk appetite. But this little bad boy can be traded with a limit order well in advance. Okay, because there's a chance that this is an ending diagonal. There's some things that's not right about it, but there's some things that are great about it. And the greatest thing about it is this structure. 3 wave down, 3 wave up, 3 wave down, 3 wave up, 3 wave down. Invalidation has still not been claimed. So with this little trade, you know, I'm not sure how you plan to trade this. I can't tell you how you trade it. But for me, the first entry would be that monthly level. Okay, this is how if I have to limit order this trade, and maybe I will do this on 2bit and I will share with the community exactly my screenshot and where I added my levels and things like that. But you know, that for me will be maybe a 1% stop loss. So maybe I risk 3% for this trade. I'm targeting the high of the 4th wave. That's what I'm targeting ultimately. But it does not mean that if price falls down and it starts shooting back up, that I'm only going to take profits when that level gets hit. No, you guys should know me by now. As soon as price hits resistance on the way up, I pay myself just like this trade. Because if I did not pay myself, I would now almost be stopped out with nothing. It's not how I like to trade. So there is a scenario where you could potentially limit order this trade because this scenario has a clear invalidation, which is $53,267. Ending diagonal in a 5th wave. So what I'm going to do is, for fun, inside of the community, on my 2bit account, I'm going to limit order this scenario. And I'll share with the community how, screenshots, and so forth. Okay. How's that? Okay, let's just do it for fun. But on my bigger accounts, I'm trading this responsibly. Okay, but when I say responsibly, this is also responsible, guys. For me, this is also responsible because I will not lose more than 3% of my trading portfolio with this trade execution. The reason I do not like to highlight trades like these, okay, is because people liquidate themselves. Because they go in 10%, 20%, 30%, price falls to the downside and they are still adding, hoping it's going to turn around, and then they liquidate the entire portfolio or the position. Okay, you have to be responsible. So I'm not saying I'm going to trade this irresponsibly. I will still lose what I want to lose for this scenario. How's that? Okay, but and as always, the reason I have a stop loss is because there's a chance that I get stopped out of this trade. But I do think it has a chance. Because what I like about the scenario is it has a nice clear invalidation. In this ending diagonal, price should not tap $53,600, $53,267. Okay. Remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. Subscribe if you are new to this channel for future notifications. Myself and Andy do rotate here on this YouTube channel. One day him, one day me. Next week, as a reminder to everyone, next week I will not be here. I'm taking a break. Andy took a break last week. I'm taking a break next week. So Andy will be inside of the community providing updates. He'll be doing shorter live streams. Okay. And but be spending more of his time inside of the community, our community. Okay, if you want to be part of the community, send me the word access to my Telegram and I'll send you the instructions on how you can join. Okay, so now it's just literally a game of patience. So what we can do is we can go and look at some altcoins. Let me just bring up the... If I see a request for an, for an altcoin from 3 people, I will look at that altcoin. I'm not going to only do a request from 1 person, okay? I want more than 1 person to be interested if I'm going to look at an altcoin. So if you want me to look at an altcoin, I need to see at least 3 people that are interested in me looking at that altcoin. Okay, Ondo, we've got Casper, we've got Solana, Hype. Okay, Hype. We've got we've got 3 for Hype. We've got XRP, Hype again, Solana, Sol. Okay, so we've got Hype and Solana. Let's look at Hype and Solana. Right, let's go. I just want to get them ready here. Sol. Okay, and then Hype. Oof. Which one has the most volume? Hype, Tether, USD. I like to look at the Binance ones because they have the most trading volume behind them. Okay. So let's look at Hype, the most requested one first. Is this the only data we have for Hype? Oh, this is better. There we go. Ooh. Okay. So guys, just give me a minute. So let me just do a couple of things over here. Oh, what a beautiful breakout. Obviously you missed that one. Okay, now it's forming a nice little trend here to the upside. Trend fib extension from the low to the high to the low. Just want to see where it is at the moment at the 1-to-1 extension, currently getting the rejection. If this is a wave 1, 2 and it's building a third wave, it can still hit $102. Just want to get a couple of things ready. Getting a rejection at the 0.618. Okay, I'll get into the smaller time frames now, guys, because I can see there's a lot of volume behind this momentum here to the upside. So it actually looks like one of the stronger tokens at the moment. Okay, there's a lot of volume behind this momentum at the moment, so there's a good chance it could still continue and push to higher levels, because I mean, if I just look at the volume, okay, on the first wave and now where price is, volume, it's a massive amount of volume over here. There's a chance for perhaps one more spike on lower volume again. So, you know, volume does basically that anyways. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Now, it's very far away from trend at the moment. And again, it's forming this little consolidation, okay? Let's see. On the 4-hour time frame, for a long, you've missed it. Cool. Okay, this is not where I long. This is where you long. Or the retest, that is where you long. It builds another flag over there, and then you play that breakout. So not much to do inside of that zone at the moment. Okay, unless on the smaller time frames, it forms another little trend over here, which is still very early. Okay, it forms another trend there, and you play the breakout of that trend. So maybe whatever it does here, maybe it breaks out, or it does this and then it breaks out. Okay, that is a longing opportunity. Shorts, this is very quick and dirty technical analysis, guys. Okay, very quick and dirty. I'm not going to go into Elliott Wave counts, it takes too long. Beautiful SFP from the 0.5, which could have been a shorting opportunity, basically just playing an SFP. And then I do like if price, okay, continues up, long opportunity, it breaks out, comes back up. I do like those little pivots for an SFP. Okay, it could SFP again for another short, because yeah, the momentum to the upside is also very messy. 1, 2, 3. Price is now overlapping 1. It's not great for an impulsive structure. 1, 2, 3, reject. It can take the low again. Okay, if price takes the low, then the trend needs to be readjusted. Yeah, hype is now at a level where I will not do anything. Sorry guys, there's not much else here, but the short was at the 0.5 SFP. You could have played an SFP at the 0.5. Where price is now, I'm not interested in anything unless it forms another, because you know it's just such a small. I only have those little 2 pivots to try and figure out, well, is it forming a trend over there? I would like larger price action to see a clear trend. Okay, like this one. Now that was a beauty, and this by the way is breakouts that I love to play. When price breaks above the trend and it keeps above the trend, I have another trend, and then that's the breakout that I play. Claim the high, stop goes below the low. So this trade played out, the long played out. Now here is nothing for me to do. It needs to form another trend. I can see, okay, it's forming a bullish pennant. Okay, it's forming a bullish pennant. Now I can play that breakout. Or if price comes down, takes the low, then I adjust the trend. Okay, so there's not much for me to do here on hype. But basically that is what I see on the smaller time frame. So all I basically do on these altcoins is I just apply my trading strategies, because to go and count it in detail from an Elliott Wave perspective, no guys, it's going to take me too long. Okay, there's also not enough price action for me to clearly figure out what is going on here. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Okay, maybe triple 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5 4 5. There's still a chance for upwards momentum. Okay, it basically forms this channel. Highest amount of volume sits in this move, and now it's busy with the 4 5s. 4 5 4 5 4 5 4 5. Okay, falls down. Right, check Dogecoin. Okay, that's basically hype over here. Let's go and look at Solana. I see there's been a lot of requests for Sol. Let me just go look for it again. Sol USDT. I still have a spot bag of Sol, by the way. Where is you, Mr. Sol? I just found you and you disappeared. There we go. Let's go to the daily time frame. Old analysis. Oh, this fifth wave did not play out. But from a timing perspective, it also doesn't make sense for that fifth wave to play. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. Just want to see 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, or 1 2 3 4 5. That makes sense. 1 2 3 4 5 inside of the fifth wave. A, B, C. Let me go here to the. Okay, it's a little bit easier, but look at all these breakouts here to the upside. Just applying the trading strategy. Breakout, breakout, breakout. Okay. And now it's just basically breaking down in reverse. Okay, it's just breaking down. Oh, that's not an easy one. Breaking down. But now it is breaking out to the upside. Just want to see where support is. Yeah, there's a massive area of resistance here. You can see how price consolidated here, creating this little resistance area. Okay, but I mean, take that out the way. I can do this fresh because there's new price action. There you go. Okay, that's a massive area of resistance right there. So if you are in a long in Solana, you can see where the profit taking area is. Okay, it's profit taking area. So what could happen here on Solana is that it's breaking trend. Okay, not sure if you got into the long, I don't know, right? And if price continues up here, well, that presents a shorting opportunity, because look at that's massive resistance. Price forms a lower high and continues momentum to the downside. And then it forms a bigger trend. Okay. And I mean, this is daily time frame stuff, guys. I'm just trying to see if I can find something more locally. And I'm not sure if you guys are asking me to look at these tokens from an investment perspective or from a day trading perspective. Okay, I'm just trying to highlight some trading opportunities that I see. Come on, get off, don't need you. So the long was breaking this trend. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, but the structure, guys, I must say the structure up still looks corrective. You know, I don't even have to count it from an Elliott Wave perspective. The structure up looks corrective. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Where's 4 and 5? And there's no fifth wave. So it's a 3-wave structure up. Okay. That could be a W. Okay, let me just redo this. This could be a W. You have an ABC and an X, and price forms as ABC and a Y, and it falls down, takes the low again. But the biggest area of resistance is at $85. So yeah, also SFP from the high. It's just not looking strong at the moment. SFP from the high. Okay, look at the resistance over there. Not looking strong. So 15-minute time frame. Okay, shorting opportunity. Price loses this trend. That could be a shorting opportunity. Price loses the trend, stop goes above the high, you're targeting the lows, and then you have your TP1, TP2, TP3. Or it bounces, and then I'll look for that short higher up. Okay, but there was a sneaky little short that you could have also jumped into over here. Sneaky little short, look at that one. I would have most probably had my trend like that if I traded this. Okay, this could have been a sneaky little short right over there. Stop goes above the high. You're targeting the low of the structure. So you can see there's nothing to do here. Okay, you're either in the short or you wait for this trend to break. But if you're now waiting for this one to break, you're going to have a bigger stop loss. You're going to have a 5.4% stop loss. So you have to go in with less capital, and you're targeting the low of the structure because it could bounce here. Okay, it needs to break down. It needs to close some candles below. So yeah, that's basically Solana. Okay, let me just go through some comments to see if there's any other requests. Guys, I know it's quick and dirty here on altcoins. Okay, it takes time to do proper analysis like I have here prepared on Bitcoin. That takes hours and hours of work, okay, to do that properly. Dash Sol. I've done Sol. Okay, Solana, Hype. I've looked at Sol. Bro, need a pump or I'm cooked. Okay, if you're getting nervous about a trade, where's your invalidation and how heavy did you go in? Did you guys know, okay, and I'm sure a lot of you know this already, especially the people that's been trading for a long time. If you are nervous about a trade and you're biting your nails, 90% of the time you've gone into heavy. Just lighten the load and you will see you won't stress about the trade. Okay. Damn thing are getting juicy. The US equity markets in instant plays well. Plus Market Sailor, Michael Saylor, remind me again, where is the dry powder store? BTC falling. Yes, I can see BTC is falling. I have my alarm set at every level here to the downside where I will be attempting longs if I get stopped out of the long that I'm currently in at the moment. Okay, I have alarms, guys, and this is the zone. Okay, it's either going to be this zone or it's going to be this zone. But down here, I don't know if I'm going to be looking for a long. Okay. Nope, I'm not going to be looking for a long down there. Okay, unless it dips below and it gets into the zone again, because I need to know where to put my stop loss, and I also need to see a sign of strength. Like on Solana, there's nothing strengthy about this structure for that I can see, guys, for the moment. Yeah, on the 1 hour time frame, for price to properly reverse, you need to see a 5-wave move up. It's a 3-wave structure. Where's 4? Where's 5? No. As long as I see 3-wave structures, 3-wave structure, 3-wave structure, it means that price is correcting, and wherever momentum came from, it means it can take that low again. So if I'm playing longs over here, I'm aggressive with profit taking, especially if I see a 3-wave structure to the upside. It makes a lower high and it falls down, eats up the territory of wave 1. Not great. Okay, it's actually better to look for shorts. So that little short here on the 15-minute time frame was a good short. I'm not sure if anyone actually got into that short. I'm not trading altcoins at the moment. I only have to trade Bitcoin. Okay, I can trade altcoins. It's just too much work, guys. Then I have to analyze 2 or 3 or 4 charts. No. Okay, we do have two altcoin traders inside of our community, Dylan and Rudy, and they are very successful with their altcoin trades, and they do post updates regularly in terms of which altcoins they are longing and shorting. Okay, what is Mr. Dylan up to, by the way? Did he post some setups yesterday? I'm sure he did. He doesn't want to open up that menu. And Bitcoin dipping here to the downside, guys. I've literally spent 2 hours explaining to everyone where I'm looking for the long. Okay, I'm not going to go through that again. Now I'm enjoying the drop here to the downside, still making money from the short that I'm in, and most probably going to get stopped out of the long if price continues to drop. Okay, I'm going to get stopped out of this long, but then I'm looking for a fresh long. Still making money from the short. Okay, so let's see how this unfolds. If you want to be part of the community and I'm not live while the action happens, okay, send me the word access. There's my Telegram, and I'll send you the instructions on how you can join. Let's just switch on all the lines. I want to see what's happening here. Oh, Binance people were longing this little momentum here to the upside like crazy. Okay, that was the bearishness that pushed price to the downside. Let me just take them. Now, the only bullish CVD that I see is on the aggregation. It's against this pivot, so it might get a swing failure from this pivot over here. Okay. If I'm going to consider a long, it will be from these two pivots. Remember, I'm already in this long. Okay. So if I had to get stopped out, the only long that I would consider here on the 15-minute time frame is if by some miracle price turns around without taking the lows. It's most probably going to do it over here. So if by some miracle, okay, price turns around and does not take the low, I would consider an SFB from those lows. Choppy, okay, gets acceptance back above, know where to put my stop, okay, and yeah, could be also wait for the break of the trend if you want a little bit more confirmation for price to slow down. Because I'm very aware of bigger corrective structures or a longer corrective structure that is forming here. So what if it's forming that bigger triangle, for example, that we spoke about, okay? Price still goes sideways without taking the low. And it forms an A, a B, a C, a D, a E, and then it falls down. Okay, that could still happen. So this D point, this is where it needs to bounce. Well, this is where I will consider a bounce for the D point. And remember, it might not claim the highs, so I will be aggressive with profit taking if I do jump into that long, because now the dump can happen there. Or we all know it can continue straight where I'm looking for the long, or it bounces if it does not claim the low. This is the best zone that I see for potential bounce, SFB from these lows. Also, it's most probably very close, okay? And 0.9, 0.8. Okay, it also aligns with the 0.8, so you can also I can also treat the 0.8 as an SFB line. Because if this is going to form a D, that's where I want to see the bounce. If the price is going to form a larger triangle. Three-wave structure in C, three-wave structure in D, and you want to see a three-wave structure in E. Fall down. Or price just continues, like I said, guys. That's why risk management is so important. Triangles, by the way, never carries the highest probability. And usually triangles gets interesting once the D point is in. If price bounces and it goes up in a three-wave structure, that becomes very interesting. The D point long or the C point short is not really interesting to me. E becomes interesting once D is in and price actually gets the bounce. Yes, you can take advantage from that from a trading perspective, but the short is more interesting because this could waterfall to the downside. It's a bigger move. Okay, but the long, guys, I've spent 2 hours explaining the long that I'm looking for. The long, I'm more interested in the long than the short at the moment. Okay, ever so slightly slicing here to the downside. Just want to see something here. Interesting. That 1.618 is also at the monthly naked point of control. Okay, 0.382. I'm just trying to think if this is forming, for example, maybe a three-wave structure. This is forming a three-wave structure here to the downside, bouncing targets, which also aligns with those two pivots. If price takes the low, you guys know, okay, I will consider an SFP from the monthly naked point of control, also in alignment with the 1.618. Remember to smash up that like button if you guys do enjoy the education, the analysis, the time that I'm spending here inside of the YouTube live stream. Remember to share the love, tap the like button ever so gently. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate it so much. Let's bring the comments here back onto the screens. Okay, where would be your next spot dip buying? I follow two rules. It needs to be below $60,000 and fear and greed needs to be below 10, preferably 8. That's when I'll buy. So it's not really price related. Okay, so the next thing that I'm looking at, price is still at the 60K zone, but fear and greed is still above 15 if I'm not mistaken. It's still 15 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So fear and greed needs to go down lower for me to add more spot, because I already bought at $60,000 zone. So what I'm looking for now is it below $60,000? Yes. Is fear and greed below 10? No. So I can't buy. I have to wait for both of those requirements before I will add to my spot bags, because I already bought in the zone. Remember guys, I have my own strategy. Okay, I already bought here. I already bought here. It doesn't make sense for me to buy here at the same level. So I need price to either slash, okay, bring fear and greed below 10, then I'll add. That's my strategy, and it's worked well for me over the years. You're never going to catch the tippy bottom and the tippy top from an investment perspective. Okay, very difficult. But when I follow the rules for fear and greed needs to be below 10, and my next buying zone needs to be below where I bought the last time, it has served me well over the years. Because although I'm not buying the lowest point, I'm buying in the lowest zones, and I'm not buying extreme greed. Because boy oh boy, if you've been buying extreme greed, you must have the worst entry out of most people inside of the crypto space, okay? Or basically retail. If you've been buying extreme fear, it basically means that you bought over extreme greed. It means you bought over there, you bought over there, you bought over there, and you bought over there. If you bought extreme greed. If you bought extreme fear, it means that you bought over here, and you bought over here, and you bought over here. So on average, you have a much better entry. And maybe you bought over here, and you bought over here. So on average, you have a way better entry than someone that just buys at extreme fear the whole time, greed the whole time. Like I said, guys, I'm not interested in any longs until I get stopped out of my long. Not interested, okay, in any longs. So it could SFP me out of my position. I am not interested in longing the D point. Then I'll look for shorts higher up, okay? It's how I want to trade this. You could have a different plan. Maybe you're going to wait for those two pivots at the D point to get the bounce, take a little scalp. Maybe I might do that on my 2-bit account. But I'm being responsible with my larger account over here, okay? I don't want to trade something that doesn't make sense. Well, it makes sense to me, but I'm looking for a bigger move. Okay, I'm looking for the bigger moves. If I get wicked out and price does not take the low, then I will wait. I will wait on my Bluffin account, but I might take it on my 2-bit account because that's my play account. That's where I am a little bit more aggressive. So let me set some alarms in the zone. Well, let's just keep it simple for now. The only long that I will consider. Okay, let me use my magnets. Let's get this Exi Perfecti. Okay. There we go. Is the 0.8. Which means I'm most probably going to get stopped out of my long trade on Bluffin. But that's the only long that I will consider. Because this structure here to the downside. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. It can continue. Okay, so it's a risky long over here, but if I get the reaction, I could most probably get stopped out with profits or with a tiny loss. But guys, it just looks like the low needs to be claimed. I mean, if you go here onto the larger time frames, okay, and I've explained this so many times during this live stream, is that there's only a 3-wave structure down. There's a 1, 2, 3. Okay, this could be the 4 and the 5. So the most interesting long is here. This, you guys, can you see why I'm not really interested in that long? Yes, it could be a small little scalp. It bounces, makes some money, get out, great. Okay, but this is the most interesting long. Because this is a long that could go and take the high. Potential take the high. I'm already in the short. I'm looking for bigger trades. Okay, on my Bluffin account. Okay, but you do you at the end of the day, right? Legend. You are an amazing teacher. Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words. USDTD would be interesting. Time permitting. Hi Devolt, learning a lot from you, sitting on my money and not taking any trade, rushing into. Also, can I join the group using Bybit or Binance? I don't think we have those two enabled. No, it's 2-bit. It is obviously with the ones here down in the description, which is Bluffin, 2-bit and Weeks. Also BTCC and Valto, which is a decentralized exchange. Just trying to think of all the options that's still there. So it's one of those. Okay, you can enter. So maybe just open up a fresh account with one of these links. Send me the word access to my Telegram and I'll send you the instructions on how you can join. You need to make a minimum deposit into your own account that you trade with, and I'll give you 2 months free access. If you stay active inside of your account, I will extend the access for you. Okay, price is getting really close to the lows. Love you, Uncle Devolt. Fruit MS, thank you so much, man. Love you guys too. Thanks for tuning into the live stream. It's almost been 3 hours and you guys are still here. Well done, well done. 1.7 billion sell pressure from Sailor. Ooh, is Mr. Sailor selling again? Oh my greatness. Devold, we are going to... Well, you better have a limit order at 0. You better have a limit order because, I mean, how low can it go? 0, right? So now that price is slicing here to the downside. If it doesn't bounce at this red line, because there's a chance, if it's going to front run, this needs to be the level. But I wouldn't expect fireworks back to the upside because this could only be a little scalp. Okay, maybe best case scenario, price does this, and then it falls. Or it just continues. It just continues to the downside. And this is why I'm not really interested in that trade. But it can happen. I need to get my plan ready for in case price just decides, whoop, it's gonna fall. Okay, it's gonna fall. Right, there we go. This is basically what I'm looking for. Okay, this could be your wave 1 that is forming now. Yeah. Okay, slices through, goes up for a 2. Or even this could be from that high. I'm just not sure in the smaller time frame if that is a 5-wave structure. Okay, 2, and it's now busy with a 3rd wave here to the downside. Anyways, I don't want to mess up this structure. Let's just leave it the way it was. But basically, it's the levels that I'm interested in. First level, first up is the monthly naked point of control. Because in the ending diagonal, you have to remember, in the ending diagonal, this can be a 3-wave structure and it bounces, and then the 5th wave is done. That's why I said that 1.618 also looks interesting. When I do this fib pool from the high to the low to the high, this could be a 3-wave structure in a 5th wave and it bounces. There's also a 1.618 if you do that fib pool. If it does not hold this level, daily level, I've got an alarm. Also 1.236, 1.382, a little bit further down, weekly level. I also still have point of controls with alarms set a little bit further down. So now I can attempt a swing failure from each of those levels. And I don't mind getting stopped out 2-3 times. Okay. Having smelly fingers responsibly, because I know that the momentum to the upside can be extremely rewarding. If I can do it responsibly and not blow a hole in my account looking for this drop, okay, if I can do this responsibly, this move back up pays back any loss that I took, plus way more. But if I can do it responsibly enough, I won't lose anything, and I will just make more money from a momentum to the upside. It just depends on how price gives me the opportunities to get in. Okay, there's also larger diagonal. I messed up all my folders here. Cancel. Let me take this all out the way. That's just resistance to the upside. Ending diagonal. Oof, took me a while to get this one. Okay, there's this one as well. I know, guys, my screen looks like a dirty kitchen out of hell. Okay, when I trade and when I'm looking for a trade, this is what my screen looks like. Because I need to see my levels. Okay, I need to see the reactions. I need to know more or less, but this is another setup. Because this could be a 3-wave structure in a 1, 3-wave structure in a 2, 3-wave structure in a 3, 3-wave structure in a 4, and maybe that is your 3-wave structure in a 5. Or it goes down a little bit deeper. Invalidation for the scenario is $53,000, 267, where price can go and take this high again. Basically an ending diagonal, and price takes the high again, but it should not claim $53,000, 267. So this is a more relaxed way of trading it. A little bit of an entry there, and maybe an entry there, and an entry there, depending on how low it dips. it would be interesting to see if price is going to get a reaction at this little red line, okay? Because how hilarious would it be if price bounces back up, okay, and does not claim the low? Okay, Andy also will keep the community up to date if he jumps into a trade. And if you want to be part of the community, send me the word access. You know where my talent is. First link down in the description, and I'll send you the instructions on how you can join. But now it's a game of patience. Okay. I do have my 2-bit account open. So if price gets a reaction at that $58,000, 365, I will attempt a small little long over there, just in case it front runs. Okay, I'm basically playing now the D point, expecting a bounce and an E. So now I wait. Devilled, are we going to zero? Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Thanks for the masterclass. Your brother is magician genius. Tell him to give you some link that we can listen to him. I will do that. Thanks, Peros. Appreciate that, man. Let's see. I'm just waiting for the alarm to go off, and then I'll see the reaction. It would be nice if you can actually SFP that low as well, guys. But this for me is not a great long, okay? I can still trade the reaction as if I'm trading the reactions downstairs. This looks like 1 2 1 2 1 2, and it's just because those 1 2s are getting smaller. This looks like it could start accelerating. Okay, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5 4 5 4 5. Okay, it starts accelerating to the downside. Alarm went off. It's reacting at the line. Not convincingly yet. Maybe it's still going to take this low. Okay, maybe it still wants to take this low, leave a little bit of a longer wick, and then get momentum back to the upside. I don't know. Let's see how this plays out. The levels to the downside does look more interesting, guys. So when I'm placing a long over here, it is with tiny capital, not going heavy at all. If I take a loss, it will most probably mostly $70, $50 that I'll lose for this trade. Okay, getting the bounce, taking profits. If I get, guys, I know you can't see because I have to see the price action while I'm taking the trade. Otherwise, I just mess it up. SFPs are one where you have to be sniper. I'll show you guys the screen after the trade. But if I do take a loss, I will be stopped out with profits. Just that little move to the upside has given me enough to cover my fees and my stop loss. If I get stopped out, I'll get stopped out with profits. I have, how do you read this thing here? position. Okay, now I will lose $7. Sorry guys, I'm reading this thing wrong. It's a little bit different than bluffing. Okay, I will lose $7 with this trade. 7. And you can see how focused I am on my risk management. I don't care about how much money I'm going to make with this trade. I care about how little I can lose. So usually when I enter a position, most of my position size is spent on managing my risk. And then I have about maybe 50, 40, 30% running to actually make me the money. But that 50, 60% that I'm spending of my position size to manage my risk is what's keeping me profitable. So I can be wrong and still make money. I can be wrong and still make money. That little move here to the upside, that tiny, whiny, teeny, weeny little move here to the upside. Okay, I used to pay my fees. Okay, there I got stopped out. And thank goodness, I lost $7 with this trade. Now, let's see. Go to the 15-minute. Now, selling pressure is increasing here. Volume is starting to increase. So, can that now be the SFP? Small little scalp, it's at a 0.9. There's a good chance, guys, this is going to get continuation to the downside. So when you do this, you have to know how to do this. So if you do not know how to do this responsibly, please do not do this. Please do not play these SFPs if you do not know how to do it properly. Please, guys, because I don't want to receive messages of people saying that they've liquidated their positions or their accounts. SFPs allows you to catch falling knives responsibly if you know how to do them properly. If you do not know how to do them, you wait for price to stop and start consolidating and show you a sign of strength. Okay, so you wait. You wait for price to slow down and consolidate, because that can give you another entry. Maybe it breaks trend over here, it breaks out over there. Then you know, okay, I put my stop, I play the break. You can get in another way. This is very dangerous if you don't know what you are doing. Devil is 10K likely. Possible, but not likely. Okay, guys, price is at $58,000. It makes no sense to talk about $9,000. Just like it makes no sense to talk about $200,000. Price is at 58. Okay, the trading opportunities is in this zone. I don't care whether it goes to $9,000 or whether it goes to $200,000. I'm a day trader. I'm trading the structure in front of me. So can it go to $9,000? Who knows? But why worry about it? Why are you worried about it? Why are you having sleepless nights? Okay, well, I'm not sure what the concern is about $9,000. Yes, my investment bags are going to look really, really bad, but you know, hopefully I still have enough dry powder to buy at those levels based on the money that I'm making here day trading. Volume a bit increasing. Yeah, but it's still not significant though. Still not great. Did you enter? I did. I got stopped out. Got stopped out with $7. I didn't re-enter. And SpaceX might make a decent move today. Oh, it's time for me. Park. And it's gone. I'm more interested in the long between 57 and 56. Me too. I'm way more interested in the long, but I am aware that price can do the following. And this is why I'm looking for, this is why I was looking for the long here. SFP from the low, which it ever so slightly gently tapped. I'm aware that price can do this, then fall down. So I wanted to take advantage of that move. But I'm way more interested in the long, this long. Because there's nothing impulsive about this structure, guys. Well, it's very difficult to see anything impulsive about this structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Expanding structure. 3-wave corrective structure up, now another corrective structure going so low to the lows. It's not great, guys. From an impulsive perspective, to get continuation to the upside, it's not looking great. Did I get stopped out of my long? I'm still in this long, holding on by a hair. Ooh. I don't know how this did not stop me out, guys. How did this not stop me out? Holy crap. Look at that. Saved by $1. Saved by $1. So if price bounces from here, then, I'm still in this long. Almost got stopped out by $1, but I am more interested in the long further down. It is getting a nice little bounce. That was the bounce that I wanted. Yeah, that is the bounce that I wanted there. And now it's getting the bounce. That's a nice little bounce. So if you did take this SFP, well done. This is usually where I would have taken enough to cover my fees and my stop loss, protect position, and now you have a free trade running to the upside. I did not jump into the second one over here. Okay, I only took the first attempt and lost $7. So it was a $77 loss initially, and I managed to reduce it to $7 and only took a $7 knock on my 2-bit account. Bluffin is obviously a much larger account, but I'm not interested in this trade on Bluffin. So this is a scalp trade. I'll use my scalp account for that, my fun account. But I missed this little bouncy here now. So more interested in the long here downstairs. Okay, I've got my alarm set. I have an alarm at each level, and I will be paying attention for this. Okay, basically I want to see this. What is happening here right now, I want to see there. If it doesn't happen there, next level. If it doesn't happen there, next level. And this is how I basically have smelly fingers responsible smelly fingers. Where would I take profits? From a risk to reward perspective, I usually take profits very quickly. Okay, so on the 5-minute time frame, you can already see the risk to reward. Even if you played this SFP from the old line. Okay, let's zoom in here. Long. Let's say you entered here in this zone. Okay, even where price is now with your stop below the low, it's already a 1.5 risk to reward. So, but I would have generally already taken profits here to the upside to cover my fees and my stop loss, and I would have most probably de-risked my position a little bit already. Okay, but the first area of resistance to the upside is this little zone. There's resistance, there's resistance. Obviously you have this little order block together with the lows as well. So then, your TP, that's how usually I start taking profits. But it could do that again, or it just falls. And this is why, even with these small little moves, if I have enough cash to cover my fees and my stop loss, and still enough to run, okay, I don't want to close the position just to cover my stop loss. That doesn't make sense. If I have a $50 stop loss, but I'm only $50 in profits, it doesn't make sense to take profits. But if I have a $50 stop loss, but I have $200 profit, I know I can take some profits to cover my stop loss and still have a position to run. And that is why I'm also saying, guys, if you are taking these trades and you do not know how to take them, where to take profits, you have no business taking this trade, because you're going to get lucky once or twice, and then you're going to not get lucky not so much anymore. Okay. Right, legends, I've been inside of this live stream for 3.5 hours. Remember, myself and Andy will be inside of the community. Andy is providing some updates today inside of the community. Send me the word access. I'll send you the instructions on how you can join the community. If you're not subscribed to the channel, this is where we do pure technical analysis, education. I share with you how I approach the markets from an Elliott Wave perspective, support, resistance, trend line breakouts, range high, range low. There's many strategies that I do trade. And if you, like I said, if you would like to be part of the community, send me the word access. There's my Telegram. I'll send you the instructions on how to join. Unfortunately, I have run out of time. I need to go and do some personal stuff as well. Like I said, guys, I do have my alarms to the downside. I will keep the community up to date if I do jump into that trade that I'm looking for. Have yourselves an amazing trading day. Until the next one. Cheers for now.